Hey, what's going on?
How good are you at Angular?
Unfortunately, no. I'm okay with it. I hate it though.
Are you familiar? Are you good with the meme stack at all?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm running into so my routes on the server side, I'm
Mhm.
having them directed to a particular thing.
Right.
But then when I actually want to load that particular URL, it does not load. So it says it cannot get it. And I'm assuming it's because I don't have my
Are you using data service at all?
no.
No. That stores it in the browser locally. We do that a lot in the Angular class. But you're wanting it to actually hit the database.
Yeah, so
You can do it with like two different methods, like the HTTP or the HTTPS.
yeah, that might be the and I need to put that in my routes on my client side,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think that
So who here is not in web design degree? Good. Game Dev? Very nice. How did you guys know that? Was it the poster or was it Connect?
It was on the calendar.
So that's how you found out? Okay. I'm trying to find out what is the best way to advertise. There wasn't much notice. Ready?
Ready as I'll ever
Let's
be.
do it.
What is this? We're watching movies.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right, that's good.
All right.
So welcome. This is our first one. We're going to have a whole bunch of these sessions, programming video games, asteroids. Everybody knows asteroids, right? Who here is like over 30?
Oh.
Yeah. Over 40? Over 50?
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's amazing you guys know asteroids being different generations. That game was hot. You used to pay a quarter to play that game. And back in those days, you had like 8 asteroid machines on a wall, whatever, you put your little quarters on the machine itself that would indicate whose turn. Hey, I'm up next. Oh, shit, that's my quarter, yeah. You guys remember Tekken? I used to do that with Tekken. Tekken 2. Then I stopped playing video games. But on time, at least at the arcade. So anyway, welcome. I'm glad you got some game devs in here. That's pretty cool. Not just web. We almost have a whole game dev. But raise your hand, game dev. It's not bad. Not bad at all. So we're using JavaScript. I hope everybody in web knows what that is. I'm not going to go over that with you guys. If you game dev people, you guys heard of JavaScript. Programming language that goes into your browser. Some people think it sucks that don't know about JavaScript. But JavaScript, you make games in JavaScript, that's for mouse trails. And the browser shaker back in the 19th, secure Internet Explorer. No, you can make some games in JavaScript. JavaScript has the ability to talk directly to your hardware, your video. Using APIs, WebGL. Now we're not doing that here, it's freaking asteroids. If you need help accelerating that game, have a problem, or your computer's pretty old. So we're just going to use what is called vanilla JavaScript. We're using JavaScript with 0 libraries. 0. Not even jQuery. You guys know jQuery, game dev, which is a library. Basically help JavaScript talk to your HTML. Many functions. So your JavaScript that we're going to do here is raw. You don't need to download anything. Your JavaScript is built in. You just need some editor. Just type the code. So that's a cool thing. And we're going to show you the difference when Crystal, by the way, Scott, I'm the department chair. One of the department chairs in WDBS, Web Design Group. I oversee the JavaScript classes, HTML, CSS.
Isn't that scary?
Crystal Silvestro, she's the course director for programming for web applications too. It is the JavaScript class, or more specifically, it's a jQuery class, or a class with JavaScript libraries, whether it's jQuery or something else, it doesn't really matter. But it is a JavaScript class. So Crystal, how long have you been here?
About a year and a half.
long year and a half.
It's been forever, I swear.
Jeez.
It's horrible.
So she's gonna help me, assist me with this, because we gotta knock this out in less than 4 hours. It's about 350 lines of code for the game. It's not a lot. It's really not a lot. But you're explaining the code and you're talking about it. 4 hours is gonna go by really quick. So hopefully I'll get done way before that, so we can do some questions, answers, like that little Q&A. By the time we get close to the end. So Crystal here is gonna help me. In case I have some kind of brain parts up here, like, I struggle, something like that. You know exactly where the struggle button is.
I do. I check it all the time.
Probably thinking it, I'm checking it, what's next, that's why we're doing what's that. You guys haven't done the struggle button? No, some of my guys. And it'll be funny, man. They'll be like sitting up here driving, and they'll be totally struggling like that. Do me a favor, go to preferences, and they'll actually go to preferences. Go to some of your pilot settings, just like that. Go ahead and uncheck the struggle button. And they're actually using the freaking mouse looking for it. And the whole class is like laughing their ass off. And they're up there, oh, I don't understand. Struggle button. Alrighty, so asteroids. You guys know asteroids, most of you. And tell me that. What are some objects in asteroids? What's an object, right? What are the key players of the game? What's one big one?
The rocks.
We got the rocks. What else we got?
Bullets.
Bullets. That's 2. See if we can get 6.
UFO.
Oh, we're not gonna have a UFO in our asteroids. Sorry. We do have a time crunch. We could throw that in if we got time.
The store.
That's kind of more of a property of the game.
Ship. And the
So we've had the ships, the rocks, the bullets.
exhaust. Ship.
Nah, I mean, that's a good one. That's not one we're gonna write specifically for. Those are the ones you should know. You have the rock itself, that's an object. You have the spaceship, that's an object. You have the bullets. But we're gonna build a total of 6. So you have to make sure I don't miss anything. So here, we're gonna actually create a sprite. You gamers, you guys know what a sprite is? You want to say? What's a sprite? Oh, anybody? What do you call a sprite? Well, a generic term for a sprite for a video game.
Icon, picture.
Okay. In this particular game, we're calling a sprite like a generic object for our game. So our spaceship flying around our shooting bullets, that's a sprite. The rocks are sprites, the bullets are sprites. They're the kind of the main players of the game. Now we're gonna make a sprite object, and then guys, especially from game devs, you know what a class file is. Yes? No? Class files? Oh my god. I feel like I'm lecturing now. Really? All right, we're having a test right now. Screw this.
You all failed.
Test. Now we're creating a sprite, and basically the sprite is going to contain properties for the spaceship and for the rock that it can share. So what does a rock have? What is a property of the rock in the spaceship? What can they both have?
Location.
Location, beautiful. So we'll call that X and Y. What else does the sprite have? We got some collision. We're not going to code for that in this particular case. Oh, we already have collision. We're not going to put it in the sprite. But we got stuff like the rock has scale. Your ship doesn't have a scale, but the rocks do. When you shoot one rock, it becomes smaller. So that's one thing that's different from one rock to another. It's width and height, or its scale. And speaking of width and height, we're going to need that too. Again, I'm going to explain this later when we actually start coding. They're going to need an image. Oh, up here. What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. The number of them? That won't be a property of the sprite. That'll be the game keeps track of that. So we'll get to that in a second. That's going to need something called a context. We'll talk about later. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Element,
Element. We'll talk about it in a second.
and rotate.
And rotation. In this case, rotate.
You got CTX, yeah?
So right now we got 9 properties. And a property is just an attribute. It's like it's a characteristic of this particular object. So every sprite has an X, a Y, a scale, a width, a height, what the actual image is, the context you don't know about yet, that's a JavaScript thing. An element That's for you web people. It's an element on the DOM. Again, you might be thinking, why this is we're not on the DOM. This is not HTML. It's not. But I need that because I need the ability to dispatch events. The game needs to know this is going to be the game object. Let's put that right here. It needs to know, like, hey man, a rock got shot. And once it receives that notification, the game goes, holy crap, you get 10 points. Because it was notified that one of the rocks got blown up. So that the ability to send events, it's called event dispatching. I don't know if you guys know that from the game. Hey, what's up, girl? So, but JavaScript can't do it on its own. It has to be part of the DOM to be able to dispatch an event. Those aren't buttons. Those are images that are spinning around. Well, that's when you see our actually. So it's not on the DOM. So we have to fake it. So we're going to actually create an empty element so we can send out events. So it knows when the rock is blown up that the game is notified of that and can do whatever it needs to do, like create another rock. Oh, you shot this one, make 2 more. Oh shit, you got some points. Add 25 points to your score. So what you're looking at here is crap. This is the game using libraries. This is using the Easel.js library, part of the Create.js suite. That's supposed to make games easier, and it does. I coded this really quick using a library. Look at the frame rate, guys. Just to kind of keep that in your head. That sucks. Even if you have like 5 rocks on the screen, you're struggling, it's really taxing the process, and you get 30 frames a second. That's not good in today's world, especially Androids. And this is people like, oh, why would a JavaScript sucks? I can't even handle Androids. And that's using a library. So, and I was actually going to teach you this, and then I saw how bad it was. And it's not horrible, but it could be a lot better. So here it is with no library. Hit the refresh, so we got our spaceship now. If you can play this game and survive, you might have to maybe the HTML got messed up because we're changing the last.
Oh yeah. So where's the original?
Okay, we just deleted everything.
Oh no.
Whoops, undo.
Oh, that's
Get
why.
our code back.
Okay.
That's why it's not working, guys. We've got 1 line of code. All right, now go back and run a refresh the browser. Assuming that's what happened. So, boom. But look how smooth that is. We're getting 60 frames a second. Whether you have 1 rock or 1,000, and that's pretty good. And this is JavaScript, right? This is not no C++ or anything like that. Now, granted, it's an easy game. C++ could do this in sleep, as far as the processing goes. But that is not bad. I mean, you can't really get much.
I can't.
You suck at it.
I'm sorry. I've been playing this for too long.
I'll pay somebody $10 so they can get like more than 500 points without dying.
I got 75.
Imagine this is the game. You paid $0.25 for this. You go ahead and put your freaking quarter in there like a second.
I'm pissed.
All right, ship number 2. Ship number 3. Ah, shit, I got 10 points. Another quarter, please. But that's it's easy to change. I just put that in there to kind of show you. Now, you refresh that browser.
Which one? This one?
Yeah, and this again, this is the one using the.
There we go.
This is using the framework. Now move the ship around, arrow keys and stuff. And up arrow to thrust. I mean, look at that, man. Again, it sucks. It's really chugging. And again, the reason I'm showing you that frameworks are great, libraries are great, but it's not your best solution to keep the video. Look what it did. The overhead, the cost of you making the code easier at the expense of compromising frame rate. That I would not. Well, I wouldn't pay for afterwards anyway. But if the game was not smooth, it looked like crap. Who's gonna buy it? So don't get all hung up with using libraries and frameworks. It's not always the best way to go. Again, especially when it's all about performance. And that's why I say, sure, I don't want to use the library. I was totally going to show you that. This is better. Now it's going to be more code, but we're not using any helper functions, any libraries, any frameworks whatsoever. So you can do it right out of the box. The only thing you need are some images that I rip off the internet and some sounds. So go ahead and.
What is that? Jurassic Park?
I think YouTube is still running.
Oh, it's still running. I was like, what is that? Okay.
So anyway, that's what we're gonna end up doing. Go refresh the browser so you guys saw the ship for a split second?
That's all I got. Hey, I got 125 on that
That's
one.
pretty good. There you go. Oh, man. So some things the game is lacking compared to the real game. We don't have the spaceship firearms mainly because of lack of time. It's already
mean
1:30 a.m.
The UFO.
That's not meant the UFO, I'm sorry. And that's for the most part, that's the main thing. We don't have the little particles happen when you shoot the rocks. They just split into two. So you hit one rock, if you hit a big rock, it splits into two. You hit that rock, it splits into two again. If you hit it again, that's it. If the scale is too small, don't make any more rocks. Otherwise, you have to fix it rocks.
Sorry.
What? I can't hear you, Mark. That's freaking loud as shit. All right, let's do some code. That's why you guys are here, hopefully. Now, we're gonna go to our, we're using WebStorm as our editor. You guys, I don't know what you guys use for C++, Notepad, I don't know. You use whatever editor you want, doesn't really matter, whatever suits you. WebStorm is by JetBrains is a great JavaScript editor on the desk. And it's not free, for you guys it is. But it's, I didn't finish my UMLs, I'll do that later. It's great for, I like it. I think you prefer Sublime.
No, actually, I'm Dreamweaver. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. I have
Dreamweaver
reason.
is a great editor, but it's a workout for just editing.
Well, and CC sucks too. It keeps crashing on me every time I try, so it's horrible. I play the Switch.
And our students, what do you guys use? Our web students, right? Sublime or brackets? That get bought out by someone. Edge or Adobe Code, Adobe Edge.
Adobe Edge it was.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
So the guys, anyway, there's a whole bunch of them you can choose. So whatever. Now here's the deal about this particular lecture. If you want to follow along, great. That ain't gonna happen. I'll give you about 10 minutes if you're like, oh, Scott, slow down. I mean, sorry. Well, if I had to wait for every time you guys get caught up or you guys mess up, well, no, yeah. So you're on your own if you are writing the code. I'm not going to stop the lecture to come back here and go, oh, no, Gina, I spelled R wrong. It's E-A-R. So, yes, I mean, you're on your own. So do what you got to do. Just pay attention. I'm going to give you the code when we're done so you can kind of have it if you want. I mean, it's not magic. It's freaking actually. So, and again, about questions. Hold it. If you have questions, wait to the breaks. I can't have a question every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes. I want to, don't get me wrong. It's a time issue. So hold your questions until the breaks, please. All right. Who wants the code? Who's ready the code? Who's ready the code or just JavaScript? Now here's the cool thing, guys. I know it's JavaScript. These people in C++, I mean, you know one language, you know them all. I mean, you gotta just learn the syntax. Convert this over to another language is not gonna be a big deal. I mean, the logic's going to be the same. If this is true, do that. It's the same in C#, C++, Java, JavaScript, C#, Pascal, Fortran, COBOL. I get old. I took COBOL when I was in high school.
I did too. I mean, not high school. I was in college.
COBOL, basic. I had that on my tier tape. COBOL, your language, you output it for paper, not for screen. Fortran, there we go. But anyway, they all have variables, loops, conditionals, expressions, arrays, things like that, data structures. All the same. It's the syntax of the law. So it's not a big deal. I always tell my students, man, if you rock and kick ass at one language, you're good. You gotta kick ass. You can't just know it. You gotta really know it. If you know it, you can learn something else really quick. Let's get a book. Or download it. Save the trees right now. Just kidding. All right. So JavaScript. What we need to do, the first thing we need to do, let me actually write some of these objects on the board, but I'm not going to sit here and fill them all in because we're already late. So we have a scribe, we have our rocks, we have your ship, I call it the player. We have the game itself. This is the manager. He's the boss. He basically delegates all this crap. Here we have a little key class, which we'll get to a little later. Bullets. That's it. So, does anybody understand inheritance? Gamers, you should know inheritance. We definitely got some inheritance going on here. I want a player to do everything a sprite can do. I want rocks to do everything a sprite can do. These are like called as subclasses. This is the super. Use them He's the daddy, these are the children, however you want to think about it. Parent, child, super sub, whatever. These guys, the player and the rock, inherit the traits from the sprite. So that means I'll have to code once. X, Y, how do they update? How do they draw to the screen? I just did that once, define it in a so-called abstract template class, and use these concrete classes to actually are instantiated, the ones you actually create. You know, you never actually create the sprite directly. You guys know the word instantiate? You guys remember that? Damn! Right. So we got our game class, it's kind of on its own. This is like a little utility class to control our keyboard. And bullets, so that's the last thing we're going to do. So there's kind of like your hybrid UML, Unified Model Diagram, I believe, something like that. There, basically, is a diagram of your classes, how they talk to each other and so forth. So we got to build all those from scratch. Now, there's going to be some copy and paste later on, guarantee it, because of time. Hey!
I know.
How you doing?
Like entire screen.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. Nobody's
Do we have
chatting
any
with.
online
No,
students?
nobody's chatting with me. Right. We got 2 viewers.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm saying bad words. I forgot about online.
Yeah, you gotta watch your mouth, man.
Oh, man. Oops. All right. There's no more beer analogies. I have to use Gatorade or something. All right. So what we got to do, guys, is make these little classes. Now, JavaScript technically doesn't have class files. It's not a classical-based language like C++. It has what's called, well, it will soon. It does, but not officially. It's based on prototype, a prototypal language, whatever. I'm not getting all of that. I want to mimic a class file. I want to be able to generate templates for all these objects. Basically, I would call it like little islands. And I need to put all the common functionality for rocks inside the rocks island, and sprite and player and so forth. The way you do that in JavaScript, there's no class files, we're going to create our first island. Well, it's like a namespace, so we don't have naming collisions with variables and stuff like that. So our first one, we're going to call it, we'll do game. So var, get that space out of there.
You don't want the space in there?
No, the space before the B. Let's say there's a space there.
Uh-huh.
All right, do var, capital G, game equals function. Open close parentheses, curly brace, hit enter after between those curly braces. Now just hang with it, and I can't have a full lecture on JavaScript, they're really bad. All right. Now that's just something called a namespace. We have this called closure, basically. Everything inside game between those curly braces is local to those curly braces. That's great. You guys know about local and global variables. You can't have global variables. Holy crap! You have naming collisions all over the place. So you gotta have you got some in JavaScript calls it closure. Private variables, local. How do you want to think about it? So we have one just for the game. So now we need the actual object itself. So inside of line 2, you're going to type function, capital, the same thing again. Open close parentheses, and another set of curly braces. And hit enter between those. Now see that line 5, what we're going to type there, we're just building a template, guys, for all our islands. And now I'm going to copy and paste this like 5 times for each of those class files that we're going to have. So on line 5, type return game, capital G. But here's the problem with JavaScript. Well, here's a good thing with JavaScript. That function, line 1, one's an anonymous function, one's a named function, is FYI. Line 1 is a variable that equals a function, and line 2 is the actual function, a named function, whatever. I don't know if you guys remember from web, but I need that function, line 1, the outer function, to run ASAP. As soon as the script loads in your HTML, I need that function to load in memory. You might remember they call that, you web guys? How do you have a function that runs automatically?
Come on.
Self-executing. You C++ guys, I think you can do it. But JavaScript has the ability to run the anonymous function or named function automatically without you invoking it, without you explicitly saying, hey, game, open close parentheses. They'll just do it automatically. So the way you do that, we're going to put on line 1, right before the F, Crystal, is put a parentheses there, opening the other F on line 1. Open parentheses. And then right before the semicolon, on line 6, close parentheses. And basically that's a wrapper. You don't really need those parentheses, but I can look at line 1 and go right away, hey, that's going to self-execute. I could hit enter 100,000 times on line 4, but I would still know that's a self-executing function because the very first line had that freaking weird parentheses in front of the word function. That's telling me that's going to self-execute. You don't really need to do it. It's more of a, hey, FYI. But that's not going to make it run. How do you guys actually run a function in any language? You call it, what do you put right after you call it? After the word, after the name of the function. Parentheses. Oh, we don't have that. I don't see no damn set of parentheses up there, so why would that function run? Well, you're going to do it right before the semicolon. So right after that closing parentheses, put open close parentheses. There you go. So it's going to run. That called the function. Automatically, without you actually saying, game, it just ran. Self-executed. Thank you very much, JavaScript. It's a cool thing. It's one of the cool things of JavaScript. Alrighty, so on line 3, just to make sure we're good, on that blank line, do a console log. Now you guys from game dev should love debugging. I forget what it's called. Oh god, Python. I forgot C++, is the spring to console. Who does
Serial.fruit.
C? I know. I forgot what. Whatever. Well, anyway, guys, what that does, it prints to the console, so you can kind of test your variables and things and stuff like that. Is that tab right on line 3? Hit tab on that. That C looks a little. On line 3, hit tab.
Tab?
Yeah, hit that. I mean, we got extra spaces in there. Hit delete. Hit enter. That looks right. I just lost my train of thought. All right, so we're good. We're going to copy and paste that 5 times. There's our first island, our first class file. If you want to think of it that way. And it's called game. But we need rocks, sprite, player, key, and bullet.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and double click that word game. Or I call it, after you write rock, double click it.
Is it rock?
Well, don't do rock first, do sprite.
Sprite. It's capital F.
Yeah, then double click it. And copy and paste where you see game, replace game with like select game, not there, but on lines 10 and 13.
Oh, 10, 13. Oh, okay.
So make that sprite paste and then keep on doing it for the next one. And see with the console log, put sprite created on line 11. And so that's it for sprite. So now we're going to go to player, change that to player, and do the same thing, double click on it and replace game with player. So we're just getting things set up, guys, like a little skeleton here of all our classes. That's all we're doing, man. Guys, don't worry, we'll take breaks. Later on.
What else do we have? Player rock?
So next we have player, we got, yeah, do rock next. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
The last one, I'll just make sure it's bullet.
Okay.
Keep the key, then the bullet. So we're making that rock. Have I lost everybody? Everybody kind of sang with me a little bit? What's up, boss? How you doing? Key, we got same thing. Don't forget to change line 28. It says game created, that's really the rock.
So that on all of them. Let me just. Oh, this
So that
is the
one
key.
needs to say key. The next one up needs to say rock on line 28. And the next one up needs to say player. Now 5, what do we got? Let's scroll up.
Okay.
You got the game,
1,
that's 1. Sprite, that's 2. Player, that's 3. Rock, that's 4. Key, that's 5.
bullet.
I need 6. So do the one for bullet, but after you do it, just comment it out.
Okay.
So put all the changes in there, but then you can comment it.
Hold on. Make sure I have everything.
This is 6 one right there. Okay.
Yeah, this is the 6th one right here.
We're at lines 47. We got a total of 300 and something lines to go. Total. But again, a big chunk of it, we're going to be copying and pasting and speed things up. We're only going to be writing line by line just for the very beginning. No, not yet. Well, these are all self-executing functions, so they're all going to load individually. We don't have just one global self-executing function. Did we miss a copy and paste somewhere? Wait, line
Oh, right
30
here.
needs to be returned key. And bullet says return, that needs to say bullet. Is that what you're talking about? Thanks.
Good eye. All right.
Driver.
I'm not a typer. I don't even know you have me here.
Alright. Alright, here's what we got so far, guys. We created our little islands, our little namespaces, our class files. We got 6 on the board, on the projector. We got 6 here in our UML. That's great. We're kind of matching things up. The next thing on our skeletons here, guys, I want to set up this relationship. I want all players to do what sprites can do. I want all rocks to do what sprites can do. In other words, we're getting ready to do, this is new for you web guys, we're getting ready to do inheritance in JavaScript. So, raise your hand if you like JavaScript.
What? You guys didn't say
You
that in my
don't like
class.
JavaScript? I'm just messing with it. All right, so what we need to do is somehow do this relationship, inheritance. So the way we do this in JavaScript, let's go to the first guy, our player. After line 17, so right after 17, you're gonna say, enter, player, capital P, dot prototype equals object dot create, capital O. I'll explain this later really quick.
Ah,
Or you can use that deprecated thing, whatever the heck that was. Object dot create. And inside those parentheses, you're gonna write this capital S for sprite dot prototype. FYI. And I can go all day about prototype. All that's doing is saying, hey, whatever the player's functionality is going to equal what the sprite does. All the definition of a sprite is now included in the prototype or the makeup or the, how you want to think of prototype. You guys know the word prototype. It's like the English word prototype. So the functionality of the player is going to be the same as the functionality of the sprite. They borrowed its prototype, its instructions, how the thing works. So that's good. But we still got a problem. What we need to do right after line 19, say sprite, I'll explain this later, sprite.call, C-A-L-L, parentheses, this, comma, right now I'm just kind of hanging there, guys, so we get to the actual file, IMG for image. Remember the player, the player and the rock is a PNG, it's a graphic. Those objects are not born with that information. You know, it doesn't know. Oh, I'm a rock. You have to tell it. When you create the rock, here's your image. When you create the spaceship, here's the JPEG or PNG that goes with it. So those functions, these objects, need that information as an argument. So that's what IMG is going to stand for. It's going to be the image that you're providing to the player, to the rock. All right. So we got to do the exact same thing for the rock. So I would copy line 18 and paste it after line 28. And replace player with rock. And then copy line 20, the sprite.call, and paste that after line 30. I know this is really technical. Like I said, this is an advanced JavaScript. The reason we're doing the calls, if you guys have any experience in programming class calls with inheritance, you know what a constructor function is. Gamers? Instructors? Just a little. What do you do? What's a constructor? I mean, you got the hot seat, dude.
We have a class and then we can call it or construct it.
Instantiate.
Creates it into the memory. Then you can manipulate the object from that point forward.
Pretty much. It's a function that runs automatically. Right when you call the class, instantiate the class,
Right.
You can say
And
new.
then fires all whatever to create seeds the variables in it.
The reason we're doing it here on line 31, because this JavaScript is a little different. When I say, hey man, I need to make a player. I want to create a player object. When you do that, at the same time, it has to create an instance of sprite. It has to run the code inside the sprite as well. So that's what line 31 and line 20 are doing. It's, hey man, you made a player? Oh, I got to create the sprite too, because I need all this stuff. It's acquiring all these traits through inheritance. It's using this information. So if you don't tell it, hey, borrow that stuff, it's not gonna do it automatically. So that's why you need to call, when you make a rock, it needs to also run the constructors of both classes, the rock and the Sprite. And it needs to do that for the player too. Again, JavaScript does it one way, C++ does it another way, whatever. It doesn't matter, you just need to know how that works. Are we good? So, that's it, we're done. Have a nice day. We got the template in place for the game. We have all our class files set up, our objects set up. We have the basic overall structure. Obviously, there's no functionality there yet. That's coming later. The first thing we're going to do, then we're going to take a little break, is keyboard control. Now, you web people, being that all you have done is JavaScript as far as front end. That's how you do that. Like, how do you think how keyboard control works? We're not making freaking Frogger. Who remembers Frogger?
I love Frogger. Can we do that next?
We could do that. Oh, that's way easier than this game. Say that. Frogger, I mean, you don't want that motion where every time you click, the frog goes, or the spaceship like moves. How does the spaceship should move? How does it move in the arcade? Or a Nintendo, whatever. You just hold down a button, right, and it moves. You don't keep on doing this. Move, move, at the rate at which you're clicking the button. That's freaking retarded. You don't want to do that. You're not gonna have a really good smooth motion. But how do you do that? We don't want to do this. Oh my God. You click the left arrow, you set some variable to true, like move left equals true. And then you're running this constant frame rate, right? 60 times a second. If move left equals true, move the shit. Great, that's gonna work. When you let go of the key, move left equals false. That's a pain in the ass. What about move right? Oh, bar, move right. You click the down arrow, or right arrow, click it, you press the right arrow, move right equals true. When you let go of the right arrow, move right equals false. As long as move right equals true, move the ship to the right. Sure, you can do that. What if we want to move up? Move up equals true. You let go of the up button, move up equals false. As long as move up equals true, move the ship up. Oh, what about shooting? Shooting, make another variable. What about diagonal? Oh, now you're screwed. You just screw this game, right? You can't do it. You don't want 8 variables floating around just to detect what direction you're moving. Otherwise, I mean, if you didn't do it the way we're getting ready to show you, you would probably do it that way. I'll be like, oh my God, really? 8 variables just to move your spaceship around? We're going to do it with one variable. And it's only going to be like 8 lines of code, the whole thing. And then it could say, you can move this key. It doesn't even matter what key it is. If you want to have 3 keys pressed at the same time, it doesn't matter. 4 keys, doesn't matter. And asteroids, you're going to have 3 keys at the same time, man. What if you're thrusting, which is the up arrow, and you're rotating, which is the left arrow, and you're shooting? That's 3 keys at the exact same time. How do you code for that? Easy. The way we're going to set it up. So we're going to make I use this for my freelance. I do video games. I do a lot of freelance for Sherwin-Williams and American Greetings. I used to do a lot of Flash. And since that's kind of like gone, a lot of my clients have converted to HTML5 JavaScript games. And when I was doing Flash, I did this all the time. And I was like, oh, JavaScript, that is on there. No, you don't. The logic is exactly the same. Who cares? JavaScript. Does JavaScript have variables? Yes. Does it have events? Yes. Does it have keyboard events? Yes. What else do you need? So I'm just learning the syntax. So we're going to make our reusable key class. If you were my students, I would give extra credit for this. What is a static class or static method? Anybody know? C++. C++, raise your hand. You know?
I'm gonna take a guess.
No, if you lose it, you owe me 5 Mountain Dews. I do that to my, hey man, you guys can contest whoever was in my class. I do that all the time. And I usually win. I didn't see that Mountain, oh no. Did you give me a Mountain Dew?
No, I beat you.
Nah, she's lying. I don't even think you're a student.
Look at how you feel with that.
I don't really lose it back.
Yeah, it was the loose one.
Oh, you got it right?
Yeah.
You did it wrong.
Nicely done. All right, anyway, I just lost my train of thought. Statics.
Is it where they're in functions inside the class will not change.
That's more of the general word static. When I say static method, that's kind of where I'm getting at. JavaScript people, is that your yes or stretch?
It's like a class that can't be called.
Very good. Well, a static class. In JavaScript, guys, have you used a math class? Who's used a math class, math.random? I hope you raise your hand. Otherwise, you're not paying attention. Did you ever say var math equals new math? Did you ever instantiate the math class? No. It's top level. You don't instantiate that particular class. You don't import it. You don't do anything. You just use the helper methods like random, cosine, sine, tangent, pi, arctangent, square root, all those functions. You never say new math. Why would you? How many maths are you doing at the same time? I have 2 math. I'll be running at the same time. That's crazy. Why'd you do that? So you don't instantiate it. Well, the same thing with the keyboard. You only have 1 keyboard. What do you make? Hey, I'm going to make new key class 5 times. You got 5 keyboards on it. It doesn't make any sense. You could. I just chose not to code it that way. So we're having a key class that never gets created. You never say new key, just like you never say new math in JavaScript. But you still run random functions. You didn't have to use, you didn't have to create math or one function. But here, same thing. So no code in the constructor. Woohoo! All right, next line, right there. We're going to type. We're going to notice. So we're still in lines 38, between 38 and 44. We're within that closure, within that island, that namespace. That's the good thing. So none of these variables are going to be global because they're all encapsulated inside KEY, inside that closure. So what we're going to do here is like capital K, dot, init. We're going to make it up. We'll give her the parentheses. Equals function. We're going to make a function, but basically it's going to set up this keyboard class. There's 2 lines of code. Equals function, open close parentheses, curly brace. And inside here, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to create an array. I'm going to see if you guys can figure this logic out. Because if you can, it doesn't matter what language you're in. This is just like a problem-solving thing, but in a second. We're going to make a variable called keys, K-E-Y-S. So probably not yet. Type capital K dot keys. Capital key with a capital K.
You're confusing me.
Primary
Key.
key with a capital K. That's not.
Woo, okay.
Key
Yeah.
equals open close bracket. What is that, guys? An open close bracket in any language, probably. Well, in JavaScript, it's an array. Those brackets in C++, they have very graph. When we're creating an array is just a list. It's a list of information separated by commas. It's basically a way to have one variable to hold a whole bunch of things at the same time. That's all we're doing. So we're going to make it nothing right now. Next line of code. Same thing, key dot, not key, excuse me, back up. Window dot add event listener. We needed a key event. When you click on a key, any key, it's only 1 event, it's 2 events, key down and key up. We need to listen for those. So it's key down, we're going to say comma, key dot, on key down. All right, and I would copy and paste that line or type it again, but change the word down to up. Wherever you see the word down, change it to up. I'll start speeding this up in a second. It's going to be close on our time. So we got key down and key up. All you're doing here, guys, is when you click anywhere on the screen, that's why we say window. I don't want to have a text field selector or some certain piece in your browser. It's like, I don't care where your mouse is. When you click on any key, that function is going to run. So this function will run when you let go of a key, any key. Or you should be thinking, well, how the hell do you know which key it is? I don't want any key, maybe it should move. Well, don't worry about that. We'll do it in a second. So now we're going to write those functions. So hit enter after 46, and we'll say key dot. There you go. Let's do the key down one first. I give her those parentheses equals function. And why don't you copy and paste that and do the same thing for key up. Yeah, you know, we only have 2 more lines of code and we're totally done with this thing. It doesn't matter what keys you're hitting, you got multiple keys hitting. We can easily write code now to say, if you're hitting this key, do this. If you're hitting this key, do this, without a single variable. It's really awesome. One line. I was wanting you guys to figure this out. We have an array. Why? Why do we have an array? What information do we need to capture when a user hits a key? What's key? Like, kind of important.
Good job, guys. You learned this last
That was
month.
good. But how do you do that? We have this array. So you have one tool, an array. Using that one tool, how are you able to track any of the keys that you're tracking without getting confused on which key it is? Somehow, what do we put down? If we push it into the array, what if you hit a key 100 times? I don't want 100 elements in the array of the same key that you hit. So what we're going to push in the array or add to the array, if you want to think of it that way, you're not even really pushing anything. You're setting something in the array. Every key has a key code. For the arrow keys, it's 37, 38, 39, 40. Left, up, right, down, respectively. So 37, left, 38, up, 39 to the right, 40 down. Ready for the trick? Here comes the magic. Key, dot keys, that's our array. Instead of doing something like dot push to add to the array, and I'm doing that crap. Why would you want? You don't want to push anything to the array. Imagine playing a game for 30 minutes, you have like 1,000 things in there. No, you don't want that. What you want to do is say in there, you can type e.keycode. Oh, you forgot E, I'm sorry. Put your E's in these parentheses where it says function.
For events.
Yeah, E's for, you don't have to call it E, you call it pizza here, just a variable. Basically, that is free information related to that event. So when you click on any key, this function is going to run. You got this freebie, this E, this stuff related to the event. Like, hey, there's a key you hit. What was the status of the shift key when you click on a key? What was something doing at the same time that you're clicking? Was it uppercase? Or what if it was uppercase, lowercase? We don't care about that. We don't want case sensitive. Like, no, it doesn't matter. So we're using what's called the key code. So capital A, lowercase a have the same key code. There's a character code or part code. Capital A, lowercase a are different. Well, I don't want any of that. That's why we're using the key code. So basically we're saying 37 is the key code for the left arrow. So really what you're saying is the 37th index is going to equal true, equal 1. So it's going to equal 1. That's it. Well, what do you think it's going to equal when you like to look at the key? 0. That's really hard. Copy and paste that, and just change the 1 to a 0. You're totally done. You got this keyboard class you can reuse any game you want that will match every key on your keyboard at any given time. And you're going to say, well, if that is 1, that means the key must be pressed. Because the only way this becomes 1 is if that key is pressed. And you can 0 when you let go. So it's a simple true-false. No variables whatsoever. And you think about only 10 lines to go. Well, let's test it out. So I don't think I'm just making crap up. But totally, yeah. This totally is not going to work. All right, so how do we test stuff out? Let's see if we can do this without breaking. Then we'll take a break. So go to your game. Go to your little game island. Oh, no, in the code. I'm going to take volunteers so you can last the longest. If anybody lasts 5 minutes, I'll give them $100.
Yeah. I will take
You'll
that.
totally do it. You probably change the code, make 1 rock or something. All right, so in our game island, so go to the very top. Oh, you're already there, sorry. So we're going to make a function. I want to say this to you guys without totally confusing you. In C++, when you make class files, you have a class file, a text file, and you write functions. You have your constructor, then you have your function that does this, a function that does this, all gets wrapped up in a little file. Python people that we had Python, you've already done it. Some of your Python guys in my class now. You made class file. Again, JavaScript doesn't have it, but I need a function. Well, that sucks. How do you make if there's no class file, I need to add a function to our game. That's easy. We don't have a class file, it's based on prototype, the same thing. After line 4, after that closing curly brace, we're going to modify the game's prototype. The construction of the game. We're going to add functionality to this object. Add to it the prototype. So the prototype can do more. The game is a prototype that does nothing. Like, I'm a prototype. I'm going to add an arm. Now, I modify my prototype. I get an arm. Here I'm adding another function to the game. So when you do that, it's really hard. the name of the object, game, so type game. Dot, prototype. We just added a brand new function. We're going to call it, so dot update all. No parentheses, an equals function. So we had just created our first function, our first method of a class. Now you look at game, it has a constructor called game, and it has a new method called update all. Ooh, that's crazy talk, man. Easy stuff. Put a parentheses, or excuse me, semicolon after line 7. Make WebStorm happy. All right. This update all function, here's the purpose of this function. Now you gamers should appreciate this, especially in advance. Your C++, I'm not sure how you guys do it. I would think when you're making a game in C++ or any language, you need a main logic loop, a loop that's happening 60 times a second or whatever. A constant repetition of code. I think in C++, when I did C++ 30,000 years ago, it was something like while true. So basically, while some condition is true, it's just that the code just keeps running forever, and you had to kind of control the frame rate, like manually. JavaScript, don't worry about that. But we do need something that's saying, we need a cycle, we need an engine that is just running 60 times a second. A function that runs 60 times a second, keeps running forever until you quit the game, or to quit the function. How the hell do you do that in JavaScript? How the hell do you write a function that automatically runs 60 times a second without using some stupid 2004 set interval function? Yeah, you could, but we can't in JavaScript. JavaScript, and when HTML5 came out, there's this new function. Now you can't, there's something called set interval. Don't use it. Not for games anyway. Called request animation frame. It's a function that automatically runs 60 times a second. Automatic. It's built into the Canvas API, to your browser. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. So how do you do it? So we're gonna, on line 6, once we call the update all function, it's gonna call a function called, we're gonna create another function called, what do I call it? Frame rate? Not frame rate. Frame.
Draw frame.
What's that?
Draw frame?
Draw frame, that works. That's it. So you don't have to call it, you call it whatever you want. So say we're gonna make a function called draw frame, but it's gonna self-execute. Who knows what recursion is? Recursion. Yeah. We're gonna write a function that calls itself. We're gonna do it more than once, by the way, but right now, I'll show you how to do that. But there are times recursion is a beautiful thing, especially in this particular scenario. So we're writing a function called draw frame. Don't worry about that yet. How do you know it's self-executing? Because look at line 6, you see that parentheses. That means that's a self-executing function. That's why WebStorm right now has got this highlight shit going on. Excuse me, online. It's like WebStorm's going, you're forgetting something. You're indicating it's self-executing, but it's not executing. Yeah, we're missing our parentheses there, and we just haven't done it yet, so we'll do it right after line 8. But your invocation, your open close parentheses. Right after that closing, right there. No, not there. After line 8.
It dropped down on me. Okay.
And then put the semicolon on line 9 for that symbol. Notice WebStorm was like, thank you very much. The editor was like, okay, you did your job. So we know draw frame is going to self-execute because of the opening wrapper parentheses on line 6. Again, you don't have to put that there. Well, in this case, you actually do. I don't mean that. So draw frame is going to self-execute, meaning this is a good thing. If you're in C++, you would actually have to do something like this, right above line 6. Hit enter, and how do you call a function? You have to say draw frame, right? So type draw frame, open close parentheses.
Maybe.
That's kind of normal. You would call a function like normal, and then then you have the actual function underneath without those funny looking parentheses. But that's the good thing about JavaScript. You don't have to do that. Make it self-execute. That saved us a line of code. That's all it really did. It saved us one line of code. So we don't have to actually explicitly call it. It does it on its own. All right. That's nothing new for you web people, supposedly. You know how to do that. Line 8. Something that might be new. Window.request animation frame. The global function, the window object is your browser.
Is it
That's
cool?
it's kind of like a global window. Make that in like a, I don't know where, it's actually a window. But it's like a global portal, how do you say it, to your, all your global functions. You do it right through the window object. So request animation frame is a global function. And in there, it's a real tough guys, that function 60 times a second is going to run, but as an argument is, well, what function do you want to run 60 times a second? That's what it's asking right now. What function needs to run 60 times a second? Draw frame. So you put draw frame in there. But so we got recursion going on right now. We have a function called draw frame. Inside the draw frame function, you're calling itself. And it's self-executing. So the catalyst, it keeps starts on its own. So you get that first rotation. The self-executing part does that. You don't have to like give it a smack or whatever. It just does it on its own. And then the recursion and calling itself up inside keeps the engine running. That's awesome. So we got our loop done. There's your, for your C++ers, there's your while game equals true going on right now. So we're not doing it in a form of a loop, we're doing it in a form of like an event. A global event, draw request animation. Here comes the test. It'd be awesome if it actually worked the first time. Next line of code. I want to see if that freaking key class is doing what we thought it was doing. So we're going to console log that array that's being generated. So do console log console dot. Oh, by the way, I'm surprised I haven't done this yet because I'm teaching Python now, but I haven't set print yet. I've been saying console log. I can't believe it. I'm gonna start messing up when I start getting tired. Oh man, you guys just start laughing, making fun of your stuff. It's all right. So in there, we're gonna talk to the key. So capital K for key dot keys. That's the array. Now let's just see we don't have any errors. We did a lot of copy and pasting with these players, and oh, it's not gonna work yet. Not done yet. We're almost ready. That's like the no-brainer. Of course, it's not gonna work. See the game? Have we even started the game yet? Where do we say new game anywhere? It's like we have all this code, but we haven't turned it on yet. It's like you have a nice Lambo out there in the parking lot. Why is it not working? Turn the key yet. Oh shit. Yeah. Well, we haven't like turned the key yet. We haven't started this program yet. It's kind of sitting there. The code's in place. It's ready to go. The pieces are there. It's like, yeah, well, it's time to go. So we need to instantiate the game. Now here's a JavaScript thing. JavaScript people, what should you do in your code before you start messing with the DOM? What should you wait for? I don't know if I said that right. Document.ready? Freaking Jake. We're not allowed. This is vanilla JavaScript, man, no libraries.
I did my job.
We're not allowed to. I have no jQuery installed. Onload. Nah, that works. That's more 2010. We're going to do it now, we're assuming nobody's using Explorer 9 or lower. Explorer, to be honest with you, you're not a big fan of. Edge is not that bad. As bad. Just Chrome. I know you gamers are more probably Microsoft. You guys get Windows machines, right? We get Macs. I have both. I have a Mac and I got a PC. This has put that to rest now. I don't give a crap if you like Macs. I don't give a crap if you like Windows. You need to like both, and at least in R and web. If you can't, if your client's going to ask you, I need to work. This is a true story. This is, what's that? It's like something exploded. Oh, it's your. I had a client. This is about 2 years ago. Like, hey, this needs to work for Explorer 8. 8, about a year ago. And I'm talking to my graphics guy. I go, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not. If a person's going to play the Bejeweled game, they're not going to be playing on Explorer 8. So why? I mean, it wouldn't work. I would have to redo the whole code. I forgot where am I going with this? Oh, so the point was, so you gotta like both of them. You need to test it on all your browsers. You web people know that. I mean, you can't just test it on Chrome. Not everybody has Chrome. Not everybody has Firefox. Not everybody has Explorer. Not everybody has Safari. I can't believe it's like 5,000 browsers. You know what pissed me off like a couple days ago? I got that Mario Maker game for the Wii U. Oh, that was good. I don't know why I mentioned that. It had nothing to do with my story. I got an exercise bike. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, me too.
It's been a while for the Mountain Dew, you know. Or some water. My Mountain Dew. Yeah, anyway, I had the exercise bike and I wanted to watch cable TV on my screen, on my TV. And I think, well, that's easy. Because, you know, Wii U or my PS4 has a browser. And I go in there, but it's still recording. And Bright House, to watch cable, I didn't know this, on their website, you have to have a Flash plugin. Well, I don't know how to figure it out. When PS4's browser, like, you just sort of load it at Flash player required, and then you try to install it. It's not supported for that browser. The same thing with the Wii U. I got to their browser, hey, all right, Flash, oh, it won't work. So just these compatibility things, you need to kind of, and that sucks, like, I don't know how to do it. Anybody can tell me how to watch Bright House on my PS4, and I can't find any apps. Let me know. Because I want to watch TV while I'm texting. Without doing on my small screen monitor. I don't want to buy anything.
That's $40.
It was sports. I needed like NBC Sports Network. Whatever, I'm totally digressing. I can't be doing that because
You need to stay on schedule, buddy. We got stuff to do.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, get over the guys that if you like one computer, you're not going to get very far in the industry. At least pretend to like both. Forget a test for both. Web guys, you have to get no choice. Like that client, you wanted to explore, you need all the browser. So, you know, Explorer on a Mac's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And out of the box, you can't really do it. So I have Windows. I love my Mac. And I love my Windows. I got my tablets. I got an iPhone and I got an Android. We got a PS4, Wii U, whatever. I'm not, like, I don't care. Whatever works. All right, and I digress. What the hell is that? I was going to fry my brain. I'll do that for 10 seconds. All right, so let's see if this works. So the problem is, I'm sure I got something spelled wrong or I forgot something. Oh, hang on, we haven't instantiated our game. Back to the original issue. We have to wait for everything to load. All your HTML, all your web pieces need to load first before you run your very first line in JavaScript. That's best practice anyway. So that's what I'm going to do here. Above all that crap, at the very top, we're going to listen for a load event, like the dude in the back, I can't remember her name, on load. He said, that works. So I do window dot add event listener load quotation node, and then inside here we're actually going to have a we're not going to issue yet comma function. We can actually create an anonymous function right here, so no name. Yeah, that's right. Hit enter. Oh, no, not there, not there. Close that parentheses. My bad. I can't see.
I can't see either. Hold on. I'm like, I can't see either. Hold on. You're in your web storm.
Open close parentheses. Curly brace. Enter. One line of code. Bar. Game equals game. Lowercase game equals new. Yeah, I just did a Python thing there. New game. You're done. So basically what that's saying is once your script is loaded, it's going to run, that event gets fired off. And so, oh, it's done loading. It's going to run one line of code, instantiate the game on line 2. Right away, that's going to run the constructor at line 7. So after line 7, after game created, we're just going to type this dot update all. And that's it. So, semicolon. I feel like I forgot one. I did forget somebody you don't really need it yet. Yeah, we're running the update all. Once the game is instantiated, it runs the update all function, which starts the loop. And then we can hit a key. Let's see if that works. Then we're gonna take a break. Go ahead, Ryan. Go to your. I'll go to index.html.
And go here. Nope, wrong one. This one.
Oh yeah, I can do that. And hit I forgot the shortcut. Did you bring up the console?
Normally a right click, but you don't have your right click working.
I usually use something Shift Command J or Option Command J, one of those. I just forget what it is.
Option Command J.
So, well, we do have an
What the-
issue. We have an undefined.
Look at
So
that.
we have to check that. Hit some keys. No, I mean, like, we definitely got some, but it's, undefined for anything. So we have an issue.
Line 14.
I'll close that up before my computer dies. Close that and go to your code. Let's just see what I forgot. What is that?
That's the thing. It's saying line 14, which is right here.
Oh, we haven't, oops.
No, we didn't do
Stay
that.
focused. Scroll down to our key class. What is that line 55? And we never initialized it. We never really had a function. So scroll up to our game, and let's do it right after line 7, after game created, right before you run update all. We're gonna say capital K key dot init, and that's it. So we initialize our keyboard class, and then we go ahead and use it. Let's see what works. So you go back to your browser, hit Command Tab, Alt Tab, whatever's easy for you.
What is it? Okay.
That's gonna be a pain. That's what they don't want to say.
It
Those
is.
online people.
It's the only people are killing me. Okay.
All right, now don't hit anything. There's your array. Now hit the left arrow. Ooh, magic. Hold down the left arrow. Hold down the right arrow. Both. Hold down Shift key. So, now don't do anything. By looking at like this real-time map of your keys, you can see by hold down all 3. Left, up, and shift. I can know right now, I can say, I know exactly what keys are being held. 16, which is the shift key, 37 and 39, the left and right arrow key. So don't hit any keys. Everything is 0. Hit like an A key. Just hold it down though. Just keep on holding so we can see it. 65. So we'll just randomly start hitting shit all over the keyboard. Now you can see what's going on. That's all you're doing, man. This keyboard is like freaking, it's so easy. Like 4 lines is totally. But yet it totally facilitates everything about the keyboard, about getting information about what key is being pressed at any given time. What's that? Anything. I use for games that like, why not? All the time. I've been using something like this for years. And it totally works in JavaScript, no problem. So whatever if it's 1, so that means the key is pressed. If it's a 0, then it means it's not pressed. You don't need any variables. You don't need any booleans to say 1 boolean per key. All right, so you know that works. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to take about 7-8 minute breaks if you guys want to do what you guys did. But yeah, otherwise I'll keep on going. I might just stop talking for like 2 minutes. Guys have questions? How are we going to give them the files?
I have one of 2 ways. We can either do it on Cloud9.
Take
Play.
a flash drive, you know, jump drive.
I do have a jump drive. You think we're gonna give a jump drive to 30 people?
Well, like, I don't think a few people are gonna want it. Like he wants HTML.
Okay.
I don't have mine,
Okay.
so you would have to.
What I have.
I don't know. Just make sure your forms off.
I try to like my students block my porn with me. But I like it.
How you guys doing, man?
I
I
have
got
it,
lost on your.
I have it so that it does,
Yes, you're on.
I have it so that it does these, but the key press.
Okay, let's go. This section, it's in the.
They do anything? Okay. Like you just set the brackets. That's it.
Yeah, it's different.
You're not gonna like get too far. That's
Yeah.
everything you'll have to use this.
But now say
I'm gonna
like,
get to one. Oh, you're still in.
Yeah, that's one of the things where you need.
It's okay, it's okay.
You really did it.
Yes, you're US like it. Really?
It does everything but.
So you agree with the name?
Yeah, I did that. I wanted to be in the conference and I asked him one. And he was like, yeah, it's fun, why not? Oh, man. Why is it done? I didn't know. I didn't. Now it'll work. Okay.
Because it's gonna be so easy to do. Ours, I think I can start rotating.
Yeah.
If that 47 is true, then you're on the
At the end, can you give me a file so I can put it
Yes.
all together?
Yeah, on the next break.
Sorry. All right, you guys, if you wanted to go to this, how do you make your screen bigger? Your font on WebStorm.
So like I hit the, do that gesture or.
Command bracket. Oh, crap.
Really trying?
Trying to make this bigger. Oh, seriously?
Well, if you wouldn't stop using freaking Dreamweaver.
Yeah.
Is
This is
that it?
garbage. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. All right, guys, if you go to this, you can download the files that we're working on now, except for the JS.
So they can get to the images and stuff?
Yeah, they can get the images, sound, CSS, and index.html page.
We might be doing more copy and pasting than I thought because of the time.
Okay.
I'm almost done with kind of the boring theory, and then we can just get to
Okay.
the meat of the stuff.
Sounds good. to
How many
me.
people are online? Hey, online.
Just one now. We had one drop off. I don't know how it sounded. We'll have to see afterwards.
Oh, I bet it's. I'm out. Here it is.
Probably. See what it keeps doing this.
Oh, that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's kind of useless.
I know, right?
We'll have to do one of these again. I have to go in that auditorium.
Mhm.
The official stream.
Yeah. It just does not. I wasn't doing this last night, but it's doing it now.
This is a test run.
Mm-hmm. Better than nothing.
Is it 2 o'clock? Did I break in an hour?
224.
But we didn't really get started like 1:15 or so.
No, we got yeah.
It'll start moving on now. That the theory, that was pretty much the main stuff. What I'll probably do next is
Players.
we're getting ready to do the player.
We done the player
That means we have to do the sprite first. So
right first.
I would, let me just think I haven't forgotten anything. We know the keyboard works, so that utility, that's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you gotta load the images. So I think we're gonna have to speed this up, or at least get caught up.
Yeah.
So, where's that load assets function? We need a copy. So maybe grab that out of,
Stuff.
I didn't put in our stuff one because I thought we'd do
Okay.
it. So there's a complete one. Right.
There it is.
And just, it's in the game, it's be up top. I don't know if I want to use this one though. I'm sorry, let's see. Actually, let's do it. Oh my God, like we have time. Where's it? This guy.
You leave these all up in here, and you leave them
What?
there.
Really?
He's so nasty. He doesn't clean up his stuff.
Do you know how to pick them up after you?
Yeah, that's pretty. Oh, that's. How do you? Why do you make? How do you know it's mine?
Because it's also
You just
heavy.
copy. Yep, just copy paste that into the game.
Okay, we're at right
So right after that curly brace there.
here.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let's do it up here. Let's go to line 10. It doesn't really matter.
Line 10.
Yeah. And Command B. Now there's some changes we're gonna make. Like I'm not gonna use the binding stuff.
Binding's old.
Well, I mean, I have to, but I'm gonna
Secret agent.
do it the easier way.
Okay.
But since it's there, I'll show them that way. And then
Okay.
most people don't do it that way. You can do it kind of a hacking way. That's real. That's how you're supposed to do it. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I'll explain it.
My question's for Crystal.
You got lucky.
Hurry.
Hurry. Okay. Hurry.
What?
I just want to know if I
Fine,
just
done.
don't. Okay. So for this
$10 man.
action, I'm sending it
One Mountain Dew.
this, and then getting all the cat gifts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's 5 o'clock, I'm not gonna look at it.
So it brings me
And then
to,
I'll be here tomorrow. What's that? Are you not here tomorrow?
brings me to
Right.
as much displays.
The API. Right.
My question is, how do I set up the route to, so it's not that, so
I have to
it's
look it up and do it
this.
together. But I can't
Okay. Let me show. Well, kind of like routes and parameters. That's week 3.
Oh, yeah. Can you move on?
Okay. So
I mean, can you move on?
here.
You're teaching English?
Yeah. I teach Angular and JavaScript. So yeah, this is okay. So this is kind of what you're probably looking for, right? You're redirecting via the
Yeah, I
routes.
know, and I did that in the Angular class, but I think I'm getting confused on, like, with the back end stuff, you know?
Right, yeah, because what you're doing is you're calling it, but you're forgetting to do the right one. You have the template controller. Hold on a second.
Yeah, but
I'm
anyway.
just going to show you this. I might be able to send it to you later. Just want to get started again. But so what you do is you basically have everything linking, right? So on here you have it through your views, right? So whichever link that you want, it's going to be ampersand and then whatever you call it in your controller. So then you go to your controller, and here, this is what you need to say. So modular, and then whatever your app name is, and then ng routes.
I'm using,
The service route provider. Okay, so that's going to be slightly different, but still kind of the same. Yeah, so you got your URL, you got your route provider, when, and you're doing state instead of when. That might be it. If you were to do it this way, it would work, because here I'm redirecting them to an HTML page where you are right there. Why is it not coming up? Because those are right. You should be able to do that fine. Because if you come down here, you go into your controllers.
yeah,
And then the data service is what you do to store the information. Have you done any of this? This is probably all going through your database right now. Where are your data? Are you doing it through your back end?
so my back end is all.
Yeah, no, you're just like, look what I've done.
Okay, so yeah, you're having. Which class is this?
This is my admin, so this is where I'm taking in the information.
Okay.
And then formatting the objects according to what I want into
Right.
my database.
Gotcha.
So what I need to do now is I got this basically, this is fully functional.
Right.
What I need is to know how when I click the button,
Mhm.
which is the stupidest thing, how do I see it?
Right,
How do I
exactly.
get
Well, that's the templating. So it's actually the route. So that's what you would do with this one here. Do you have your route MS file? Do you have that? When you're using Angular, in order for your routes to appear, you have to use the route file.
Yeah, I have this one, and then I changed to using UI router.
Okay, I wonder if that might be an error. You might need to test that, because then once you do that, if you just go into this, configure route file, that will be simple enough and you would do it the same way.
That's what this is.
Yeah, exactly. And why are you using this one versus the router? You should use this one instead. This will get you to work. Yeah.
To change it.
Mm-hmm. And then so you do your win, your template, your controller, and then this changes the views. And then that should at least get your view being able to show up, and then you should be able to get your fields to match after that.
Okay, and this right here should have
That's forward slash. I don't think it would be. You're posting that?
That's what I'm posting.
Yeah. So it's in your GIF file, right? Your GIFs? You're searching for anything that has a tag a cat. And all your cats have tags, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah, this is looking.
Randy?
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
No problem.
You ready?
Yep, I'm ready. You lost a lot of them, Scott. A lot of them. That whole row right there.
We didn't have to go in second grade.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, that was my class. I mean, I'm still right.
Where'd they go? Right?
Probably.
You have a crappy cord, by the way.
Is it the cord?
It is. It's gotta
I
be.
think it's the output. I mean, I think it's the port.
Let me try.
Oh, there it goes.
Let's go. It just took a while.
Don't you have 2 ports?
All right, guys, let's continue and knock this stuff out so we can grab some beer.
Yeah.
Who's under 21? Do you get that class? Yeah.
Oh.
At 5? Yeah. Are you good? Why? Oh, you got it. What's that? What do you have on Thursday? I have multiple. Who else has class today? I'm just kind of curious. At 5 o'clock.
Technically 1 to 9, but.
What do you have at 5? Oh, that's this month, yeah. I heard that class got a little crowded. More students than our uniforms. That's not good. That class never has more than 5 students. All of a sudden they have 14. I think he bought them out of his own pocket. He did. It's I recommend doing group projects. I don't know. Like $90. Are you guys ready? Ready. Let's do it. I'll try to make it exciting like code, you know.
Woo!
Interested in it, kind of boring. I like it because I get paid a whole bunch of money. Why are you guys here at Full Sail? What's the main reason why you're here? Already rich. Learn. There you go. Well, learn. If you hope to learn.
So we can get rich.
But the main reason you want to learn is to do what?
To get rich.
To get a job, right? And get money. Who would be here for just the hell of it? You know, not many. Hey, Steve, who's going on a cruise?
I'm gonna go.
I got 2 coming up, one in October and one in January. That's only 3 in 1 year. That's pretty low.
Yeah,
May, October, November. But I got another one in January. I had a cruise withdrawal. And you guys know about my gambling issues, right?
Yes, they're very bad.
Not issues, but my
He has some issues.
or lack of control. I used to card count, like blackjack.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You guys ever watch Rain Man or 21?
Yeah.
I got shuffled up on once. I never got barred. Right now? Yeah. No, we're talking 20 years ago. You can't count cards. Now you got 8 decks in those things. And there'll be like 4 decks remaining and they'll still shuffle. Like, yeah, okay, thanks. I'm not gonna count that. All right. The counter method they got in place now, card counters, it's unreal. You can't. It can last long though. Well, $100 will last you all day. Well, not if you're betting $100 land. All right, I don't bet that. Mom did that once. I lost $600 in 6 minutes. $100 lost. I have 18. Gilliard's 20. Oh, I get 19. Gilliard's 20. Oh, I got 20. Gilliard's 21. All right, I'm done. I usually don't bet that much. Usually about 10 to 75. All right. You should go to Hard Rock though in Tampa. You guys like that stuff. You know it's like the 6th largest casino in the world. In the world.
You should do a commercial.
I mean, it is like huge. I think the place sucks as far as cards. Like slot machines. All right, guys, let's do it. If you're talking, there's a outside. I'll get confused. What we're doing next is the load assets. Guys, the way Java, and again, that's a JavaScript thing. These are images. The spaceship. I just lost my track. The spaceship. What else? The rocks and the background image are images. The bullets are not. I'm drawing those dynamically. The little circles. Have we even shown the game?
Yeah.
It's kind of late now. We just did the way you saw the code.
Yeah, I'm like, we can't do it now.
I mean, we could change. So let's not worry about it. And we have back up. But anyway, guys, the bullets, the little red circles, those aren't graphics. I mean, those aren't images. Those are created with the Canvas APIs. That's with code dynamically. So, guys, this is what we got to do. We got to load 3 images, 2 JPEGs, 2 PNGs, and 1 JPEG, whatever. So we got this function, highlight line in the middle. We copy this and just to speed things up a little bit, because we're already going to be late, and I don't want to rush it. So lines 11 through 28, we just added. Just select that. There you go. Now think about what's going on here, guys. This is, for your web people, this is kind of important. I mean, this is good for not even games. Like, how do you make an image loader? And then, no matter how many images you have or whatever. And we got more recursion going on. So we made a function called load assets. Look at line 11. That function needs help. It can't run on its own. It has arguments. You guys all know about arguments, right? If I say, hey, give me your area or rectangle, you can't answer that question. You don't know how to answer that question unless I give you two arguments, like length and width. Then you go, oh shit, now I can do it. You gave me help, I'll give you a return. I'll give you an answer. The length is 5, the width is 4. The function multiplies them together, you get 20. Anyway, this function, load assets, needs help. It can't run by itself. You got to tell it what to load. So you're going to give it an array of images. So that's what the argument is on line 11. Game.prototype.load assets. That's the name of the function called load assets. And list is the argument. It's just an array. Now you don't give it an array. This function goes WTF and crash. We don't. This is not perfect. It's going to assume you know how to write a freaking array. You call it function. But it's pretty simple. Kind of think of what needs to happen. You give it an array of 3 JPEGs, 3 images. The first thing it does is load the first one in the array. Once that's finished loading, it's got to go, am I done? No, I got another one. Then it goes to the second image in the array. Once that's done loading, it has to go, am I done? Oh, shit, no. Then it goes to the next image in the array. Then it has to know, am I done yet? Is that the last image? And once it is, and then the function's done. So we got recursion. This function is going to be calling itself. So look at line 12. We had this count here. And then we have the load asset function, which gets, that's the one that's being the recursive function, is load assets. So on line 14, we create a new image. This is all JavaScript, raw JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript. This is how you load an image in JavaScript. You guys might know how to do it in HTML with the image tag. Well, we're not doing it with the image tag. We're doing it with JavaScript, so this is kind of how you do it. So you create an instance of the image. On line 15, you're saying, well, this is the source of the image. It's whatever is the first element in the array, whatever counter you're on. If you have three images, counts going to be 0 the first time. So you grab in the first image, second, third, so forth. And then line 16, once the image is done loading, it's got to be notified. We got to listen for that event. So once the image is done loading, it checks to see, well, am I done? And that's what's going on in that if statement, highlight line 21. That if count less than list, basically you're saying if there's any more images to load, keep load again. And that's why it says load asset. So run the function, run its own function again. That's the name of the function, right? On line 13, it's called load asset. So it's going to keep on calling itself until all the images are loaded. But we have to do this listener because, I don't want to get too much of asynchronous and synchronous like crap. But JavaScript's weird sometimes. You can have 2 images that are kind of the same size, and if you didn't have this listener there, you just had to load them all up. Don't worry about the order. Sometimes the rock might get loaded before the spaceship. You reset your browser, the spaceship gets loaded before the rock. Well, that sucks. I have to know that every single time I load these images, the backgrounds, the player is going to be first, then the rock, then the image. I don't care which size is bigger than the other. I need it to load in that order. So before I explain that any further, we need to actually get rid of line 9. Comment out line 9. We're not going to use that right yet. We need to add some stuff. I got a little out of order here, but we need to add some stuff to our player. There's some properties that we need to add. So if you have that here, so don't forget. Not our player, excuse me, our game. What does our game have, guys? What do you think are some properties of the game? You guys mentioned it before, like when we started doing those diagrams, not for the sprite, for the game. The game keeps track of what? Score. What else? We got about 8 of them. The game itself. That was a good one, but we're not doing it in this version of Asteroids. Like the number of lives is beautiful. You totally would have that if you're making a real asteroid. So you have your score. The game needs a reference to the actual screen, the canvas, which we'll talk about later. It's going to need access to the score text, the HTML that actually shows your score. That's 3 things. It's going to need to have access to all the rocks, because it's going to talk to the rocks. So it's going to have an array of rocks. It needs to know the images that are loaded. It's going to have an array of images. So there's a lot of stuff. Well, not really. I think there's like 7 things for the
6,
game.
7.
So go ahead, Crystal. What do we got after? You can comment out the initialize too. On line 8.
Line 8.
Because we're going to use that later. So the first thing we'll do, let's grab, is the canvas the first one I got?
The canvas, on this one, you have screen. Yeah, canvas.
Okay, so the first property of the game we're gonna create is the actual screen, or it's the canvas. So go, this is like, as ownership, that's a variable, that's like, that's a property. You're explaining that this variable is an instance variable. It only is part of the game. Is that part? I think it creates that. So this dot screen equals document dot query selector. JavaScript people, remember query selector? Then jQuery, it's kind of like jQuery, but it's more verbose. And we're grabbing the canvas from the HTML, so it's hashed out and given an ID called canvas. That's going to be nothing new for you people in web. And for your non-webbers, just kind of hold that thought for a second. I'll explain a little later. Next one, we're going to grab all our attributes. Here with that. So next one, I want to grab the actual text field that's in the HTML, because we got to have access to that so we can put the score in there. So we're going to call that this dot score text equals document.query selected and his reference guide. I call it point to score. I think it's score.
You called
The
score,
HTML
yeah, score. Document.
So we're query selector, hashtag, guys, just FYI, you guys know this little recap. Hashtag means the ID of that particular attribute in your HTML. It has an ID attribute called score. So basically, it's referencing that piece of your HTML. All right, that's 2. You got like 5 more. Well, the actual score itself. So this dot score equals 0. Start with 0. Duh. All right. Next, we have. Let's do the player. This dot player. That's your spaceship. Okay, equal. We'll put null for now. We're just getting things set up. Now we need the rock. So this dot rocks is going to be an array of rocks. So make it equal an array. We haven't built the rocks yet, but we'll do that later. We're just setting things up. So we got
Images.
player, rock.
Images.
Oh, the images, yes. This dot images is an array. Equals open close. We still need a context, CTX, right?
And game state and load
We're not
asset.
using game state.
Okay, no game state.
So we have the context, game.ctx.
Yep.
So next line. Game, I'm sorry, I'm kind of speeding this part up. .ctx, what the hell is that? CTX.
3D.
Yes, nicely done. Who's saying that? Nicely done. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Guys, the way the canvas works. Have you had canvas yet? I think you had a PW1. You had a PW1? Oh, maybe you did. Maybe that's an idea. It's in there now.
Oh, yeah, you know, we did read.
Draw lines.
Just like a tiny little bit of it.
Very little, very little. Really quick, guys, and when HTML5 came out several years ago, there's this new thing called Canvas, which some people call it the Flash killer. JavaScript before this time, you couldn't really do any of this. You could, not really. You could not make a decent game in JavaScript to save your life back in 2009. That's why Flash was kicking some ass back then. Well, this thing came out called Canvas. Basically, it's an API that allows you to draw images, lines, strokes, fills, whatever, in real time, dynamically, with code. You want to draw a line from point A to point B, you can do it. You want to draw a stroke, you want to draw circles, arcs, rectangles, all that crap. You can do it via Canvas in real time. So again, it's just an API, kind of a library for drawing tools. Context is how you access the API, how you access those functions. So you can draw lines and fills. Those functions are in the context. So the way we're doing it, I'm setting game.ctx instead of this, I'll explain that later, equals this.screen, which is a reference to the canvas, dot get context, that's not going to show up. Parentheses 2D. This has nothing to do with asteroids, guys. This is how you access the drawing API of the canvas 2D. You might be thinking, oh, cool, 3D? No, you can. But we're not using the 3D part of the API. You don't call it 3D. You put something, instead of 2D, you put like, WebGL, I forget what it's called. But the architecture is in place, so it's not just 2D. So guys, this means browsers have the ability, like I said earlier, you can talk to your hardware, you can talk to your video card. And the better video card you have, the faster your substance around actually uses your video card. But not in 2D. So is that all?
You have load assets.
That's the next thing we gotta do next.
That's the only one left, yeah.
All right, so that's it, guys. on this particular constructor. Now we got to kind of run the load assets function. So the first thing that happens is the game gets started. You create the game, and then it goes to all those lines. It goes, okay, the screen is this, the score is this, the player is this, here's your rocks, here's the images, here's the CTX. And then it's done. The next thing you do is like, all right, load the assets. You got to get the ball rolling here. So this got load assets. And inside the parentheses, well, what assets do you want to load? Well, twirl down your images folder on the left there, so you can see them. We need, and this is the order. The order you put in this array is the order they're going to load. That's what you want. You don't want this. I put them in this order, and they got loaded differently. And then you think you're going to put a spaceship on the screen, but it becomes your background. Wouldn't that be weird? You know, the background image becomes your spaceship. So you're flying around, and the background's moving. The star field's moving, and now you're freaking spaceship. Or you think you're creating 10 rocks, and you actually created 10 spaceships. Because the order in which you're loading the images is changing every single time you refresh your damn browser. You don't want that. So the order in which you put here needs to be the order in which you're going to load. That's the whole point of this function here that we just wrote. So what's the first thing I want? What is the first? Player.
Player.
So we got to do the directory. So no, you don't. I'm sorry. They put the whole file name in there. Player.png, comma. The next one I want to load is the rock.png, or rock1 is how I call it. And then the background is the last thing. So that's kind of cool. Now, you don't have to do it this way. Like web people, web guys, just be careful how things load in JavaScript. You're not guaranteed they're going to load in the order that you thought they were going to load. So we're forcing it to load in that order. That's what this function's doing. And how you tell is look at line 17, right? It goes load assets, you highlight the entire array on line 17. Start with the brackets. Try to grab those brackets. That's close enough. That's the array. What Crystal has highlighted is the argument list on line 19. So what's the first thing in that list? Player. So look at line 20, say count equals 0, blah, blah, blah. The source of that image is going to be list subs count, which is 0, which is player. So kind of follow the logic here. So it isn't I can do anything until that's loaded. So this code runs here, then it goes, listen for the load event. All right? Well, it doesn't load. Well, I got to take these binds out in a second. It's just going to sit there. So there's no other code to run, so it won't do anything until it finally loads. Then once the first image loads, line 25 is going to execute. And say, hey, it's going to log something. Then it's going to put that image that just finished loading into our images array. So the image that just finished loading goes into this array in that order. So then it does a second image. Once that's loaded, that goes inside the images array. So the first two things in the array are player, then rock1. Then once the third thing is loaded, SF1, that gets added to the line 26, the images array. So the image array is going to be in the same order as what's on line 17. That's pretty cool. What the hell is this? JavaScript. This is where JavaScript sucks. Take that out for a second.
Which line?
Take all the binds out. Be careful with this stuff. So get rid of the dot bind. Well, just do one at a time.
Okay.
So the dot bind, but undo. You need that closing parentheses. So take that out. This is how you might be used to seeing stuff. And get rid of the next one. But keep the open close parentheses. Undo. Okay, that's good. And we also have one on line 29. See that dot bind this? Let's get rid of the dot bind this. But keep the. There you go. And is that the only one? All right.
I don't see any more.
This is going to be kind of confusing. In JavaScript, if you're in notice we have a function inside a function. like load assets. Is it load on line 22? Do me a quick favor here. Comment out every single thing inside lines 22 through 34. Basically everything inside the load assets. And just hit command question mark. Alright. So basically we comment out the entire load assets function. So it's gonna self-execute on this. But we got an issue. On line 20, where it says count equals 0, do console log, I almost said print. Console log this. If you guys, you web students, if you understand this, this is big, or especially for advanced JavaScript. And then, for now, God, we didn't break it. Go ahead and run it. It should only, this worked great, this is good. Say game created, because that's what's in our constructor for our game. Say new game created. And see we got console log here, game. That's very important. What the hell, where did that come from? What's this GFK shit?
That's
Is there a console log something?
I think so. I think there is actually.
Let's go back to our code. That might be in our key class at the very bottom.
It's in one of these.
Scroll up. Person to find it.
For console log, guys.
Oh, is that something you would have had typed earlier or something?
Is it on the HTML page? No. It was something earlier. I don't see it now.
That's weird. Whatever. So notice we got console log, guys. It said game. That's what this is, console log. Do me a favor. In front of the word this on line 22, put outside. Like, instead, after right there, type the word outside in quotation marks. The word outside. And then, comma. And then copy that code. This is where JavaScript is really nuts. And sideline on line 23. Hit enter. Paste, but put that like inside. Write the word inside instead of outside. And notice they both say this, right? So you would think that it should be the same thing. Console log this, which is the instance of that game. But look, yeah, this is not good. That's good. They should be. They have to be the same. If for whatever reason, I know what's happening here is, guys, go back to your actions, your JavaScript. It lost the reference of this, that context has totally changed. What function is line 23 inside of, guys? What function are we inside of? Load asset. What object is the owner of that function? Well, you would think it's game, but it's not. Notice load asset. Is it part of a prototype? Is it attached? Is there a word prototype in front of the word load asset? No. So that's like this function that's kind of, it looks like it's part of that load assets prototype function on line 19 because it's written inside of it. But it really isn't. The keyword this is the ownership of the function that is inside of it. Well, we're inside load asset. Who's the owner of load asset? Well, nobody. So it defaults to the window. Check. Well, that sucks. Because what if I want to access, see line 14? This.rocks? What if I wanted to access those rocks inside load assets? You can't. Rocks is part of the game. Go ahead and run it again. Rocks is a property of the game, just like score and screen and all that crap. It's part of the game, but this refers to the window here. So we go this.rocks. JavaScript's going to go, what the hell is that? I don't know what rocks is. That's part of the game. It's not part of the window. It's part of the game itself. A game on. So it's like not good. So we have an issue. There's two ways you can fix that. You can call binding. I don't remember. That's what was there before. We could bind the load asset function. I don't want to do that. I mean, I can show you that after class. Here's what a lot of people do. If you guys get this, this is awesome. On line 21, type right above line 20, right above the count. We'll do this. And this is a common practice by Douglas Cockburn. He's a big JavaScript guy. I don't know if you guys heard of him. They do the that equals this reference. It's really dumb. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'd rather do that once than write binds 5,000 times. So we're going to say bar. That equals this. They can call it Bob equals this, or pizza. I don't really care. But the common practice is bar that equals this. So here's what we can do though. Here's the rule. Inner functions access outer functions variables. Well, go inside load assets. If we're inside load assets, that's the inner function. So that means we can access the variable that from inside load assets. What does that equal? This, which equals the right content, which is the game. So we can now we can do this on line 24, where it says inside. Change it. We'll keep that the same, but change this to that. And watch the badges. Refresh your browser. See, wait, go on it. See game. Now they're both games.
Sure.
Yay! That's what we want. We don't want game window. Yeah. So now inside the inner function, we can access. This is what it's supposed to be. It's the actual game itself. But you can't say this. You can't say that. Or you can do what we had before. Bind the hell out of everything. I'll do it on some things, but not this one. So uncomment everything. This is FYI. So we'll start cranking here.
What was it? Question mark?
Yeah, same thing. So let's see. Don't run yet because we're getting in there. Get rid of those console logs. We'll get rid of line 22.
22?
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. And lines 29. Console, the other console log this.
29?
Yeah. 24 too. 28. I'm sorry, 28. I can't read.
I thought I was like 29. Okay.
That's kind of a big one.
Yeah. Right. 28?
And 24.
24.
Delete them.
Okay. That works.
But actually, on line 20, above line 30, where it says push image, but
Okay.
above the count,
Yes.
somewhere in there, do a console log, like image loaded. Just to show that it's loading. So basically, it's going to run this function 3 times. Once it's done, it's going to go, okay, all images are loaded, then run this function init, which we don't have. So go to the game and write init. Don't run it yet, it's going to break. Make on line 40, after line 40, we're adding another function to an object. So we got to modify the game's prototype. Game.prototype init. So this is the function that's going to run when all the images are loaded. You guys see, we got this asynchronous thing going on here. This may never run. What if your images don't exist? Or what if you're online and you've lost internet connection? Well, we don't even have that in place. We had no error checking whatsoever. So this game will just kind of sit there and go, it's hanging. Because it never finished loading. So that means line that this dot and in on line 36 it never ran. Because your internet crashed. And we don't have anything to say, you lost your connection. That's another whole lecture. All right, game.prototype.init equals function. And just open, close, parentheses, coders, all that good stuff. And let's go ahead and put the semicolon there, and let's see if it, don't run it, I'm sure it didn't do anything dumb. Scroll up. Let's follow the code because we're going to get really fast after this. When the project first loads, the game runs, it sets the screen, the score, text, the score, the player, the rocks, the images, so the context, and it goes, hey, got everything set up, go ahead and load the assets. Well, what assets you want to load? It's player PNG, rock PNG, Starfield 1, JPEG. Lovely. So then it runs that load assets function, which basically goes, okay, start loading an asset one at a time. That's what line 23 is doing. It's going to keep on running that function until all images are loaded, or until this condition is false. Once that becomes false, in other words, when all the images are loaded, go ahead and say, hey, all images are loaded, and then run the init. Which, if we go to the init, nothing there. So if everything is good, there should be no errors, and it should say image loaded, image loaded, image loaded 3 times, and then finally say all images loaded, and hey, just stop there. So let's cross our fingers, make sure we didn't have any typos or just something dumb. Oh, we got an error. Push my define. Oh, duh.
29.
Go back to your code. All right. I just had this big discussion how this has different contexts, and we got line 29, this. Then you say that. That dot images. Because that's this dot images is that array inside the game. Well, this needs to refer to the game, not the window. Now right. I think I might have had that twice. What was it?
This dot init.
Right when you realize, like, oh shit, I knew we have another one. Not this dot init on line 36. What is it?
That.
That.
Okay.
All right, 3 images are loaded. All images are loaded. Still don't know where that came from.
I think it's on the HTML.
Selected. Is that something you
It says
typed in
on
there?
35. Line
Oh, and you see that
35.
as a line number?
Yeah, all images are loaded, but
I don't know what the hell that's
Oh,
coming from. I'm not worried about it.
It doesn't show up online.
You just hanging there, is that what it is? Okay. Guys, thanks for the people that are following along. That's awesome. It's pretty good stuff, pretty hardcore stuff. Let's move on. Finally, right? We got all the dirty work out of the way now, so let's actually get some stuff on the screen. We got our templates are in place, images are loaded, ready to rock and roll. We need a spaceship on the screen. That's our order. We're gonna do the spaceship first, make sure it moves. Then first thing we're gonna do is put the starfield on the screen. That's easy. Put the spaceship on the screen. That's easy. Make it move. That's easy. Don't make it move like a spaceship. Trick. You're ready to do some sine and cosine, man. Not. Easy stuff. Easy stuff. All right. Well, that's the first thing we want to do. Once everything's loaded, what do you think the very first thing is? What would you do? I just kind of give you an idea. What would you do once everything is loaded? If you were making this game, what would be the first thing to probably put on the screen? Well, what do you think is the easiest thing to do? The background image. Well, why don't we do that? That background image doesn't have any dependency. Like, I wouldn't do the bullets first. Well, you need a shift to shoot the bullets. So that'll be kind of dumb. You could do the rocks first, but then I'd rather get the ship first, after the background, because that doesn't need rocks to show up. You don't need bullets to have a ship, but you need a ship that has bullets. So, and that's kind of how I decide what to do first. The least dependency stuff I do first. Background. All right, enter init. We're in our init function of our game. Here's how you load an init. Well, this is one way. You're not loading the image, we're displaying it. The image is already loaded. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of putting the image in the canvas, I'm going to actually style the canvas on the HTML tag in JavaScript. So it's just quicker that way. So here's how you do that. We're going to go to, see that's actually a good idea. That tag right there, canvas, I could have done this right in the HTML. I totally could have done that, but it's cooler to do it dynamically. So I'm going to actually add a style attribute in JavaScript to have a background image as that starfield. But this way I can easily swap it out. Now I loaded up another image inside that images folder, and I changed one line of code. You're done. You got a new image. You don't have to even touch the HTML. The less dependencies, the more dynamic, the better your code's going to be. So the reason this works here because the init's part of the game prototype. So that's why this survives in this function. It knows what it is because it's part of the game. So this dot stream dot style dot
background
equals quotation. You gotta be careful here. URL parentheses. Outside the quotes, we need. You guys know what concatenate is?
You better. You better.
I hope so.
You better.
We need to add. Well, what do you want to concatenate? What's the actual name of the image? Well, what image do you want to put it as plus this dot images? That's where all our images are. Which image? Sub 2 bracket 2. That's the third image. Remember 0, 1, 2. Guys, zero base indexing on arrays. Dot source. That's the actual name of the image, not the entire image object, the actual, just the source, the URL of the image. And then we got to close out the parentheses. Go ahead and run it. We should have a background image on the screen. If we have a spaceship on the screen, we're in trouble. But notice, we don't have to worry about that. We know the order in which our images are loading. 2 is always going to be the freaking background, never the spaceship, never the rocket. So that 2 on line 42 at the end, always going to be the background. If you want to change it out, that'll take literally 5 seconds. Assuming you have an image already there. 3 seconds. You got a new image. What if you want different images? You're on round 2. I want a different starfield. Well, that's easy. Just replace that with a variable or something like that. It's simple stuff. All right. Next. Spaceship. You guys find a spaceship? We got a haul ass. So, do me a favor.
You want to go?
We're going to do the sprite class. We're going to have to copy and paste
Okay.
to speed this up.
All right.
So guys, just bear with it. Otherwise, I want to be done before 4 so we can do questions or make
Pac-Man next in 30 minutes.
You can make Pac-Man in 30 minutes.
I wish. Pac-Man's the game is hard. So I wish I kept that other.
No.
Well, she's mean, right?
Yes, we'll put everything up on cloud 9.
So I'm gonna copy all this, and then we'll explain it. There's the end of the sprite, right? I think.
Yeah.
Grab that, Command C, and paste into.
But make sure you overwrite our little white island. Guys, it looks like a lot, but it's really not. I didn't think it was going to take this long. So now, I don't have to worry about forgetting any of these lines of code. All right, stay focused. This is probably the meat of the entire game right here. And then it's downhill. Everything goes good from here. So, right, this is this guy right here. A sprite guy, this is an abstract class. This is a class you're not going to really create. Right? It's a template for the rocks and for the player. So it's basically what everything a player can do and everything a rock can do. So highlight the entire constructor lines 58 through. Actually, something to get copied. Scroll up just a little bit. I think we missed something on the copy and paste. Oh no, this is the sprite. I'm thinking of the player. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. So highlight everything from line 58 to 69. Think about this. Think if you can, again, guys, if you can. I'm not saying you recreate this on your own. I'm not asking that. But if you understand what I'm saying here, this is deep, man. Especially at where you're level at the first year of coding. You can understand all this object-oriented principles and everything that going on. You guys kick ass. Gamers do. Doesn't matter JavaScript. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the language. So notice on line 57, this is the sprite. It's not the actual player, it's not the actual rock. It's just the sprite. It's a template for your game object. We have an argument on line 57. The way I coded this, so every time you create, when you create a spaceship or when you create a rock, you have to tell what does it look like. Well, that's the image. The image that you give it. Well, we got two choices. You're either going to be a rock, or you're going to be. Well, it could be we're going to have to try that. I want to make one of the rocks the background image and see what the hell happens.
Oh my God. You should put.
Big ass images rotating around as rocks. It should work theoretically. The game is not like hardwired. Like, you know, a big one change, everything breaks. That'd be kind of bad programming. It should have. Why would it? It will look funny though. All right. So every sprite has an X, a Y, a scale, a width, a height, a context. Now, what the hell is going on there? Well, X and Y, duh. You have to know where to put your assets on the screen. X and Y. The scale is 1. Why do you even have scales? That would normally I wouldn't. But this game has asteroids. Oh, they change size. So the spaceship might need to, probably will never use the scale, but the rocks are. So I put that in there just to be cool. So if I wanted to change the scale, I don't have to write all this crazy ass code to make it happen. I just throw it in this right. Let it take it. If the spaceship wants to scale, it can. And actually I did, because the original graphic was kind of big. So I scaled it. How did you do that scale? I made my own scale function. Make it very scalable, reusable for your code. So we have the scale, the width and the height. Why do you need a width and the height? In this case, I needed it for collision. I'm going to get to that in a second. The JavaScript needed to know how wide and how tall the image was for my collision detection, which we'll get to soon. The sprite needs access to the drawing API. Otherwise, it can't do any drawing. It can't load the image. That's part of the canvas, so I had to have a reference to it. So line 63 does that. Line 64, this might be something new for you web people. This is the thing I was talking about earlier. Why is it a DOM element? Why do you have a sprite? I just made something else like ELE for element. What the hell is that about? It's not on your HTML, and it's not. I never attach it. Do you see attach element anywhere? A pen tile? I don't see that. The only reason I'm having this is kind of like a hack. I need these objects to dispatch an event, like a button, like a click event, but they're not click events. Why do you need that? Well, how else am I going to do some communication here? In JavaScript, only DOM elements have event capabilities. Well, this is not on it. Sorry, guys. DOM. only HTML tags. You can only put events on those. It has to be like on the attached to the DOM, like almost attached. It has to be an element. JavaScript doesn't have custom events. Like you just put help. I want an event when the loop happens 10 times. I want to dispatch the event. Hey, I'm done. You can't do that. It has to be, unfortunately, it sucks. Most languages can't. So I just faked it. I said, oh yeah, that's a DOM element. Not really. It's not on the HTML. It just thinks it is. So I just made what I call it null. You don't have to call it null. You can call it I love pizza. It doesn't matter. Just some name I made up. I just said no because it made sense. So that's what's going on there. The line 64, only reason, so I can dispatch the event. Why the hell would I ever want to do that? Well, what happens when a rock explodes? Guys, here's the rock, right here. There's no wires to the game. It's like, kind of think of this wireless thing. It's way over here. But what does the game need to do when one of these rocks blow up? Remove it. Remove it, maybe. What else? I mean, think of this way. What property of the game is going to change when one of the rock explodes? Scroll up so you can see all the properties. Score. Oh, there we go. Who said score? Score, right there. Where is it? Come on, go all the way up to game. Give them all the way to the top. Line 12, this.score. What score is a property of what object? Game. That's scores here. Rocks over here. So we have to, somehow the game needs to know, but the variable lives there. That's not a global variable. I can't just say inside the sprite, hey, add score plus 10. How the hell am I going to do that? The rock doesn't see the game. Remember the little islands? The game is not part of the island. It's by itself. So how do I talk to the rock island from the game island? There's no bridge. You make a phone call. Wireless. So that's kind of what's happening with the events. It's like phone call. It sends out a signal. The rock's going to send a signal. It's like, I'm dead. And the game's listening for that signal via event listeners. And he goes, oh, I heard you. You're dead. All right. I'm going to talk to my own score variable because I heard you from way over there. You're like the rock island. I'm the game. No wires. You got shot. You go, I'm dead.
I'm dead.
And I go, I'm the game. Oh, score plus 10. That's how we're doing the wireless communication through events. But in order to do that in JavaScript, they have to be elements. That's how JavaScript works. Or don't do events, but then you got to have this constant hardwired connection between the rock and the game. That's like lame. It's not very scalable, not modular. So the rock dispatches an event. Anybody can listen to it. It doesn't have to be the game. You can just yell as loud as you can. Whoever's listening for it will react. And I digress. Let's move on. So let's keep on going. So line 64, on line 65. Just FYI, the only reason I'm having that is not every sprite has an image because the bullets aren't images. Instead of building another class or object, I just did everything in sprite. So what if a bullet wants to load an image? Oh shit, there are no images. So the bullet, because it draws its own, it uses the canvas, it draws circles. There's no physical image that's loading. So I had them do a check. Well, if there's no image, only set the image property if there's an actual image. If there's not, or in other words, if it's a bullet, then it's going to skip that line and put it. That's all that's doing on line 66, just to help. Line 68, we got to why do we have a rotate? This is obvious. Does the ship rotate? Yes. Does the rocks rotate? Yeah. Well, that's a no-brainer. It's not built in, guys. You have to do this yourself. Okay, keep on going. Now, what can that sprite do, or what are its methods? I have the ability to change the scale. Why are we changing the scale? Does the ship change scale? Well, it could. But the rocks do, right? You saw that. You shot one big-ass rock and turned it into little ones. Those aren't new images. They're the same image. It's shrunk. So I just made it, so you know what would be cool? Make a scale property. And if I change that scale, it changes the size of the image. One line of code. So that's what's going on there. Stage wrap, well, think about that one, guys. What happens to the spaceship when it's the right edge of the screen? Here's the spaceship. What happens when it goes here? What should it happen when it goes here? It does a stage wrap, comes back around. Do the rocks do that? Does the spaceship do that? So that's common functionality, right? So you might as well, instead of writing it twice inside the player and inside the rocks, we wrote that code inside the sprite because remember, the rocks and the player share that function, those functions, because of inheritance. So I just wrote it once. The whole point of inheritance. So basically, whatever this is, was it either a rock or a spaceship, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It hits the right edge of the screen, go to the left. It hits the top of the screen, go to the bottom. It hits the bottom of the screen, go to the top. It hits the left of the screen, go to the right. That's all it's doing, man. You can read that code, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Don't worry about the draw bullet. Don't worry about that yet. Highlight, this is the last thing in the sprite, then we can start creating stuff. The draw function. What the hell is going on there? Highlight all that. Again, this is canvas crap. It's a little confusing for especially even for guys that done JavaScript. If you haven't done a lot of canvas, it's a little awkward. What the hell is it? How does a canvas work? Who can draw? How did they do cartoons in the like 1920s? Or cartoons in general? How do you do cartoons? What's the process? So you draw on a sheet of paper, like you're going to do a cartoon now, you draw on a sheet of paper, right? And then the next sheet of paper, let's say you have a guy walking, and it's a scrolling background. Not just a static background with a couple trees and a dude walking on the left side to the right side. What's the first frame going to be? Right, the guy kind of at the left side of the piece of paper, and then you flip to the next page, page 2. The guy's a little closer to the middle, right? Maybe this view. You get the idea. You flip it, like 100 pages, with your thumb, and it looks like it's animated. But what do you have to do on every single page? It's like you're redrawing the entire. You have one page, you erase everything, draw it again, but move. Erase everything, move everything, and draw. Erase, draw, erase, draw. That's how the canvas works. There's no like objects there. You have to draw everything and totally erase from scratch. Draw it again, but everything's nudged over just a little bit. Erase everything, draw it again. Just like you're flipping through a piece of paper, like a little booklet for an animation. A little something you can do at home or whatever. That's exactly how the canvas works. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Whatever. So here's what we do on line 95. This function is going to run 60 times a second. We haven't tuned that yet, but that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. That draw function is running every frame. So pretend it clears the paper. We haven't seen it yet, but it's going to clear like sort of a blank sheet of paper, and it's going to save the context at its current state, the layout of all the graphics. And then it's saying, what's rotating? Well, this is the spaceship, if it is rotating. What are we doing on line 97? Oh, line 96. You guys know modulus? Who knows the modulus? Here's another reason for it. How many degrees in a circle? 360. What's going to be happening here, guys, you're rotating the ship. It starts at 0 rotation. 0 degrees rotation in flat or in JavaScript, it's to the right. Station to the right. Pretend that's 0 degrees. You do a full revolution. You pretend every time you rotate, you add 5 degrees to your rotation. So what's 0 plus 5? 5. And then you're holding down the right arrow. So in 1 second, see if you can do the math. If you're rotating 5 degrees a second and you're running at 60 frames a second, how many degrees have you rotated in 1 second? If you held down that right arrow for 1 full second. 60 times 5. Yeah, it's almost so if you held down the right arrow or left arrow for 1 second, it's going to almost rotate a full revolution, 360 degrees. But what if you held it down for 2 seconds? 720. Now we're getting weird. There's only 360 degrees in a circle. I don't want it to say 700 because it's not going to automatically do this. If the rotation is greater than 360, set it to 0. You could. Why? That's extra. Say, why don't you use the modulus? It takes care of that. It'll never go above 360. Think about that for a second. That's a good thing. But if you didn't have that in there, if you held that rotation, that right arrow for about 20 seconds and started shooting the bullet, it'll be out of sync. The math would be off. It would be like, oh yeah, I'm facing this way, but the bullet's off a little bit. It's not coming out of the front of the ship exactly right because your rotation's at 13,000 degrees. And you just say within 0 to 360. So think about the math. Let's say you're at 365 degrees. What should that be? Well, if you're 0 to 360, and it says 365, you'd rather that say what? Oh, 5. 365 degrees is the same as 5 degrees. Well, why don't you do your modulus, man? 300, you're 365 mod 360. What's 365 divided by 360? What's left over? 5. That's what we're doing here. So that's keeping us in line on line 96. It's saying your rotation is never going to get above 360. So if you're at 370 degrees, oh, no, it's not. Mod 360, what's 370 divided by 360? What's your remainder? It's 10. Well, 370 degrees is the same as 10 degrees. Okay, so, can I see that? That's why I'm using the modulus. If you didn't do that, you would literally have to write an if statement on the very next line of code. If this I rotate is greater than 360, then set it to 0. Oh, if it's less than 0, set it to 360. Screw that. It's mod 360. No if statements, man. Don't need that crap. Unless you're a noob. All right. 997, we're just taking that rotation and multiplying it by anybody have any freaking clue why we're doing times 0.1745. You guys are gamers? How are you doing? I'm with you guys. I made that up. I could be, no, I'm just kidding. Guys, how many degrees in a circle?
360.
How many, what's the Fahrenheit of freezing temperature? What's the freezing temperature of Celsius? So Celsius and Fahrenheit measure what? Excuse me? Temperature. So what else besides degrees measures angles? Radians. Same kind of philosophy. Temperature and Fahrenheit measure temperature. Degrees are measured in radians. Now you gotta get used to that, man. If you're a coder, get used to it. Screw degrees, you're done with that. Cosine and sine, you guys remember that shit in high school? It doesn't work in, what's that, 445 degrees? It's like on your calculator, I should say. It's in radians. Oh, if you want degrees, you gotta convert it. 0.1745 is taking your degrees and converting it to radians. That number came from pi divided by 180. 3.14 divided by 180 is 0.0174. So, FYI, to convert degrees into radians, you take your degrees and multiply it by that number, you got your radians. That's way easier formula from Fahrenheit to Celsius. And the other way around, we would say math.pi, but yeah. When we have radians, we want to go to degrees. Well, it's 57.3, which is 180 divided by pi, the opposite. FYI. But you need to know that. If you're a gamer, you guys are game dev. Forget about degrees. If you're with your buddies, talking in your car, I think I said the joke right. Hey man, can you go down to 711 to 180? What does that mean? Turn around. You know what else can you say? You can go down there and do a pi. That's the same thing. It's 180 degrees. 3.14 radians is 180 degrees. Same shit. Now you're probably like, get out of the car, geek. But yeah, dude, you need to kind of start thinking that way. Forget about degrees, man. You guys can be dealing with sine and cosine now for forever. Those are angles and radians, not degrees. FYI, so I digress. Let's move on. So that's what we're doing there. So basically, every frame, every single object, every single rock, every single bullet, well, not the bullets are here, but same kind of shit going on. Every single game object, that's happening 60 times a second. It will be. So all it's really doing is saving that piece, saving the context, moving this particular item in there where it needs to go, and all the transforms. It's translating, it's rotating, it's scaling, and then restore the canvas. That way, you can have like these individual things do their own thing without messing up the rest of the canvas.
Can you show the end of that? On these two?
Oh, I'm glad you actually brought that up. What the hell is going on there? Draw image is how you actually put an image on the canvas. You can find a scene then in your PW1. You guys, if you had VIA, maybe not. That's how you draw an image. But what's that shit? You know, what's going on there? Let's say this is your image. Seriously, that's all I can do, man. That is like the limit of my skills. You got to kind of think about bounding box. It's kind of there, 0, 0. If you rotated that, that would be like its pivot point. How would that rotate? Would that rotate the way you want it to rotate? If that was an asteroid? what would happen? It'd be like this, right? It'd be like a fan. You need it to rotate it here, around the center. Or that will look really weird. I mean, here's your big asteroid here, the registration point here, the pivot points there, transformation points there. It won't rotate right. You need to rotate around the center, the origin, center of the object. Does that make any sense? Well, that's what we're doing here. We're offsetting the image up by half and over by half. So the center point is in the actual middle. So it rotates right, otherwise it looks stupid. When the rocks rotate, especially your spaceship. Oh my God. Like you start turning up, like, whoa, damn. So that's all it's going on. And it's only do it if it's an image. If it's a bullet, well, don't do it. That's not an image. Remember, bullets aren't images. And this is the bullet. I'll just go over this really quick. It's doing the same crap. Save the context of the canvas. Do your new stuff, just the bullet, and then restore the canvas. So move the bullet to where it needs to go. Draw a circle. Well, arc, but it's really a two arc. It's a full arc. It's circle. That's how you draw a circle in canvas. It's red, and it's filled in. It's not a stroke. It's an actual fill. It takes like 5 lines of code to draw a circle in canvas. That's it. You drew a circle. That's nothing to do with asteroids. That's how you draw a damn circle. Canvas. All right. If you got all that, you guys are awesome. I know I went fast or whatever. Let's move on. Here comes the easy stuff now. That was the hardest thing. Besides our bullets, but that's copy and paste. Right. Say yes. We're ready to actually get some shit on the screen. Let's say the word shit. Okay. You guys are all over 16, right? Who's not over 16? Yeah, right. Really? All right, we're getting the spaceship on the screen finally. All right, guys, stay focused, stay focused. We're almost there. We have our player here. This is the actual physical concrete class. This is the player. This is what you're actually taking. Let's do it. So, in init, go to our game because he's the manager, our game object. In our init, which has nothing really. Scroll down. There it is, line 42. After we put the background image on the screen, the next thing I want to do is create a player. This is really hard. How do you say new player in JavaScript? Say this, not player, equals new player. But it needs help. You can't just say that and say, well, what's the player? The object needs to know, well, what image you might be creating. So parentheses. And inside the parentheses, do this dot images. Remember, that's the array that holds all our images. Which image is the player? 0, 1, or 2?
1.
What's the first one, which is what index number?
0.
0, so sub-0, bracket 0. Well, think about it. We're not done. Did we set the x and y? What's the default? If you don't set it, what is it going to be? Because remember in the sprite, we set it 0, 0. Well, let's not do that. Next line of code, this is really hard. This dot player. What property you want to change? The x property. Dot x. And the reason it knows about it, did you define x inside the player? No. Go ahead and scroll down. This is show last thing on inheritance. Where's the damn player? Like, this class is really small. I don't see, do you see inside like line 122, 123? I don't see, do you see this dot x anymore? But how does it know what it is? Because of its daddy. Its daddy knows what it is, the sprite. So it's be it as inheritance. You didn't, that's the whole point of inheritance. You don't put it here, it's inside the sprite class. The player inherits the trait of the sprite. How does it do that with a line 120? That's how it's doing it. And that in conjunction with line 122. So that's how X is a property of the player through it via inheritance. All right. And that's a great thing. So when we build it, you'll see this how all this hard work, how easy it is now to make a rock, or a third player, or a third or fourth rock. So this dot player dot x equals the middle of the screen, 400. Equals 400, the horizontal angle. Because our canvas is 800 by 600. Next line. This dot player dot y equals 300. So now we got to render. We got to run that draw method. So this dot player, all these are actually inheritance. X, y, and draw are all actually part of the sprite. No, we don't have to do that.
Or we don't do this one?
Oh, I see what you're ready to do. But for now, we don't need it.
Okay.
I see that was set scale at 0.9.
Yeah.
Because it's so big. Because made the game too. I made it easier by making the shit smaller. But don't worry about it. This top player, not draw. Now, eventually, we're going to take that line out. But for now, I just want it on the screen once. That's a function, so put your parentheses in. I'll be shocked if this works first time, but it's, I'm forgetting something. Huh. Maybe. Go ahead on it. Cross your fingers. We have a shift. Oh, yeah, here. I'll leave that.
Image is not defined. 124. IMG.
Oh, we need, see the player constructor in 123, you need to put IMG in there too. Sorry about that, I forgot to say that. Those printed, they're right inside.
Oh,
the
right
print.
here.
Yeah, in the printed IMG. You got it wired there, go for the rock, so I don't forget.
Where is the rock?
Hey, what kind of
Right
thing?
there.
Not there. The other one, 134.
This one.
All right, go ahead. Almost done. Yeah, oh my God, it worked. All right. Here's the cool part. All that dirty work we did, now we can get stuff on the screen in no time. Oh, let's make a rock. Well, that's easy. Why don't you copy and paste lines 43 through 46 and just grab the whole. That's weird.
I know, right?
I hate when I don't know why it does.
Might be the projector. I don't
I
know.
have to close that script tag or that tag and reopen it.
Maybe.
So go ahead and copy and paste it right after line 46. Right after the draw. Paste. And change player to, oh shoot, what happened there?
It looks like it's glitching.
Undo, it's all, WebStorm's all screwed up. Close your practice 2JS and open it back up. No, that's not it.
Oh, it's phase 2. Where's practice 2?
It's under JS on the left. There.
Oh, right there. Okay.
Make that font bigger.
How did you do that again?
The little gesture, you know, the, not pinch, but the opposite of pinch.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Gotcha.
What is the opposite of pinch? You're not pinching. That's it. Stretch, expand. Well, the opposite, well, zoom, I guess that would be data works. Anyway, so we don't want image to 0, we want that at 1, because it's a rock. And change that 400 to 300, otherwise we're on top of each other. And then now this dot player, we'll call it, oh, you know, get rid of this dot player, get rid of the word this also. This is just for the hell of it. Call it test rock. Get rid of the word player. Just say test rock equals, or bar test rock equals new player. Or new rock, excuse me. And make that a rock. Remember, here it is, right? A rock is a sprite. So it's all this stuff should work. So change players to all those other players at the bottom, the last 3. To test rock. Get rid of this. And if you wanted 20 rocks, we'll make a freaking loop in there out of 20 rocks. Say you rock 20 times. Just set a random position, whatever, for something. But this really makes the code real scalable, real easy to control these objects. Go ahead and run it. And we should have a rock, assuming our rock is not messed up. Now we got a rock. That was nothing. 3 lines of code and you're done. You got a rock. Fine, whatever. Lose the rock.
Want me to get rid of it?
Yeah. I'm just showing you how once the tools are in place, it's really easy to start putting stuff on the screen. And really get what's being done.
Okay.
How do we make the damn thing move? What's the point of making a game if there's nothing moving? So, our objects, now this won't be part of this, right? Go to the actual spaceship island or little player island. Wait, higher. Here it is, right there, line 126. After 131, we need a function. There's only one function on this player class. So I call it update. Guys, what this is, an update function, this is me. Every game object has a method called update, which this is the function that's going to run 60 times a second. We haven't set that up yet, but keep that in the back of your head. Whatever code we write in this function occurs 60 times a second. Again, I haven't coded that yet, but it will. So, well, I'm sorry, not function update. Do a player.prototype. So get rid of that.
The whole function?
Yeah.
Okay.
adding a prototype to the player. We're writing a new method to the player object, so we have to modify the prototype. Player.prototype.update equals function. No arguments, which is nice. Do me a favor, put a semicolon at line 129 because that's what's bothering me. All right.
Semicolon there.
Curly braces. Almost there. I hit enter between curly braces. What do you want the shift to do? What do you want it to do every frame? I want it to move to the right. This would help. This dot x. Stay with me. How does that work? Because look here it is. Plus plus. No, plus equal to. That's a little freaking slow.
Plus equal to?
Plus equal to. So basically, we're saying move the shift 2 pixels to the right. Just put a 2 there. I want that shift to move 2 pixels to the right every frame. So in 1 second, how many pixels should I move? Well, 60 times 2, how many 20? What's that? 100? So 120 pixels in 1 second. Well, see if that works. Semicolon. So let's go to our main game loop. Nope, too far. Where is our little update? There it is. Get rid of that log. Oh shit, that's why it's that. Why is that there? Get rid of that.
The whole thing? This whole thing?
No, line 58. The constant log. Just get rid of that.
Okay.
Let's just delete it. That's gonna. This is that away. And then we'll take a short break after that and open that, wrap it up. Unless you guys are good. Ready for this? We need to talk to the player. So can we say this dot player? Well, remember how this works in JavaScript? What function are we in right now? Our cursor, line 58, is in what function? Draw frame. Well, this has a different context. Now, this does not refer to the game. Oh, crap. So we got to do that equals this again. So line 55, we got a nice space already there. Bar. That equals this. And remember, inner functions can access outer functions terribly. That's how this works. Now line 58, instead of saying this, say that. Have it, get it inside the function. That dot player, remember the player attribute property? Dot update. So assuming we did everything, look at that, how that code runs 60 times a second. We already proved that. Remember with the keystroke, the key event stuff? So we run that code. What did we say? We said, well, 60 times a second, run the update function inside the player. And what does the update function say to do? Move 2 pixels to the right. So go ahead. We're missing one thing, but I did it on purpose. Go ahead and run it. I'll refresh your browser. Oh, I guess some errors. That's
43. Looks like
what?
capital P.
What? Just stop.
40.
Yeah. Well, what line was that on?
43. Oh, it should be lowercase p?
No, that's right. Why? How did that just start breaking? What did we do? Wait a second. Yeah, but
Player is not defined on 132.
where?
Huh?
Ah, that's a good
Where?
call. Is that what you're gonna say? Yeah, nicely done. I didn't even see it. Oh, duh, it's even like highlighted.
Right here?
132. That needs to be capital.
Okay.
I totally missed that. All right. So the good editor, we totally missed that. All right, go
There
ahead.
you go. Okay.
Refresh. That's really slow then. All right, let's go back to our code. This dot x, what do we do? Go back to your animation. That animation.
Where?
Right there. That dot player dot update. Oh, duh. No, stupid. Go scroll up. Wait, no, at line 46, we need this to actually draw it. Well, we don't. Remember that frame is running 60 times a second, so the very next frame it's not drawing because you took the draw off. So we can take that code. We're going to automatically comment or copy that code. And we're going to include it. So it's Command X in the actual player itself. So go to the player. So after it does all its updating, we're supposed to scroll up right after line 132. So after it does its crap, you gotta draw it. Or you can get rid of the player, just say just stop draw. Draw that. Now go ahead and run. I knew it was gonna do that. I've still got an issue. What the hell's going on? Now we got, we keep copying these. I wonder if something got messed up. No errors.
No
Just
errors.
that draw. No, it's actually a good time for a break. If you guys want to chill for a couple minutes, you can while we see what we did wrong here. Well, this should be totally good. You copy that, this, that.
Yeah, that should be fine. It's gonna be this area or,
Do me a favor.
I was looking at the update all. Is that where we're at?
There's nothing wrong with that.
This, right here. And right here.
That's good. Go back to your player. We need to do a console log. This is what I wanted to avoid to save time. But after line 132,
132.
scroll up right there. Just do console log this.x. See that's even running. Give me something down. Okay, go ahead and run. That's not even.
It's not even loading that.
Dude, are we even running the damn update all function? Go ahead and scroll up. Or we might have commented that out. Go up to the top. I'll keep on going. So we run the init, and we're never running the update all.
Right here.
Oops. Well, that's okay. Don't go. We're gonna type it somewhere else. Go back to our init. The very last thing, right before the curly brace on line 51. Just thought update all.
Nope.
Sorry guys, I never ran the function actually for all the stuff. Like the updates and stuff. Go ahead and run it. I'll watch you do another here. Come up here and go on top of it. Okay.
Where
Where's
did
your
it
browser? Oh my God,
go?
don't show my lovely desktop.
I'm sorry. It
Where's your
won't,
browser?
how do I do that? It won't, I closed it by accident. How do we?
Go to my doc. It should be-
Oh, that one? Oh, God. Look at my hair. Oh, that was the
Oh,
thing.
That's all right.
I got it.
There we go.
Whoa,
So
my.
refresh the browser.
Good.
Yeah, we got an issue done. What did I just say about how Canvas works? They get a flip, whatever you call that thing.
Flip book, Scott. It's a flip book.
Each page, you have to, when you first buy that flip book, every page is blank. You're not clearing the canvas. So you're drawing on top of the previous frame. So that's not how Canvas works. You have to draw what you want. Oh, you got to move stuff? What if I'm only moving the space? It doesn't matter. You got to clear the entire canvas, star field and everything, and then redraw. But we don't have to redraw the star field because that's actually not part of the canvas. I forgot that's a style of the canvas tag. It's not actually in the canvas. That's okay. That's really easy. So go to your update all. So right, I just saw it. Oh, there it is. Right after 55, right after 56, excuse me, right above the update. First thing you want to do is clear the canvas, the entire thing, wipe it clean. That dot screen, which is a canvas. Oh no, my bad. We have the content. We have something else. I'm sorry. Do game dot capital G CTX. That's the context. That's the actual way to get to the functions of the canvas. Dot draw rect. DRA. Clear rect. I mean, shit. There it is. 0. Those are rectangles. So 0, 0. That's the upper left-hand corner. Oh, it says so right there. And the width and height, 800, 600. I can say screen dot width, screen dot height. But we're in a hurry now, so 800, 600. So basically, you're drawing a big ass rectangle in the upper left-hand corner. That's empty. So you clear right, you clear the canvas, draw, clear the canvas, draw, clear the canvas, draw. That's what you're doing 60 times a second. So now run it, and it's gonna look like it's supposed to look. And hit refresh, and there he goes.
Woohoo!
Oh shit, there it goes.
It's coming back?
Oh, it's not gonna come back because we didn't tell it to. We got the code in there, but we never ran it. So go back to your code. Let's do that first. And do go to your player. There's all the brains of the player, so it's gonna be in the update function. So right before the draw on line 134, you can get rid of that console log this, by the way. Just delete it. So right above the draw is always the last thing. Do this dot stage draw, or stage draft.
Capital?
Yeah, is that what we called it for our sprite? I can't remember. Oh, it functions, so parentheses. All right, go ahead and run it. Now the reason you're getting squiggly lines in a WebStorm, it doesn't understand our code. It doesn't understand inheritance. Go ahead and run it. I didn't see it right. Did it go?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, there it goes. Hey, everybody you're in the way. And right. But notice our player class is really not that complex. Let's go to our code. And there it is, lines 126 to 138. That's the entire player object. Most of it's through here, all its functionality. All right, let's get this trig stuff in there, and then we'll really speed this shit up and get out of here. Our player doesn't move like that. What kind of asteroids is that? So get rid of that line. 133. When you hit the left arrow key, what do these happen to the spaceship? Rotates left. Doesn't move left, rotates left. Right? This is really hard. Now, since we have our key class already done, you don't have to do anything really else. You're at one if statement, you're done. So, right above 133. If, parentheses, and then you can talk to the keys, so capital K, UI, dot keys, that's the actual array. Which index number refers to the left arrow? 37, that's the key code. So bracket 37. You don't have to say equals true or equals 1. You just say that. Curly brace. So outside the parentheses there, you're done with that. If it's hard code, this, which is the spaceship, dot rotate, minus equal 5. 5 degrees. Not radians, 5 degrees. That's a shitload of radians. That's like a complete revolution and then some. There's 6.28 radians in a complete circle, or 360 degrees. That's it. That's totally it. Mine, well, go ahead and see. 37 should be okay.
Yeah, 37's fine.
Go ahead and run it, or refresh your browser. Your key class might be. Is that what you got? Why do we have a plan? Let's see the code, or your console.
Oh,
Probably something. Oh, no, we did. Oh,
what is it?
We didn't initialize the key class.
What is? Hold on, I can't get this stupid thing to come up.
It's next to the start button.
I am. Trust me. What is it to get your console up?
I use it. Use it all pad. That's like
No, I mean the console
Oh.
in here.
option J.
A.
So option for JavaScript.
So yeah, my bad, guys. Go to your code.
Okay.
You somehow must still have it initialized. Guys, we didn't initialize our key class. Go to the very top, somewhere in our game. There it is, commented out on line 8. So why don't we uncomment it? But don't do it there. I don't like putting it there. Take that code and move it to our init function inside our game. So scroll down just a little bit. Right there, after line 40. Okay. That's what you probably don't have. Run it out. Now hit the left arrow. Whoa!
Ooh.
That was hard. Now ready for this? This is really hard. Copy and paste
Find where I was at.
on our game and paste that, and we're gonna change it to the right arrow, which is 39. This is all that key class is like amazingly easy to use. No, you don't need any extra variables, nothing. Just say 39 and plus equal. Yeah, change the rotate to plus equal 5. And then run it again. And we got the spaceship rotating left and right. Ooh, shit.
Ooh.
That's the easy part. How the hell, see how it's facing right now? Go ahead and keep that browser up there. See how it's facing? How do you make something move like that? Like, don't rotate it. Get it at an angle. That's good. Just keep it straight like that. That's good. That's an issue. There's no magic function that says move at that angle. Yeah, I mean, you have to do some fancy, well, not fancy, you got to do some math. Real quick, here's your spaceship, right? It's been facing this way. And Here's the center of the spaceship. It needs to move this direction. Simple math, we're getting move shape. So basically, sorry about that. Here's your center. See this, what do you call that line on the right triangle? Very nice. So somehow we need kind of like that angle. The angle, it's not exact right terminology, but we need the angle of this hypotenuse. So once we get that, we need to kind of traverse it. Or in other words, we get the stair step effect. How many pixels, like how much to the left and how much to the right? Actually, do me a favor, leave that up there so it's easier to explain so you can see the graphic. Keep it like that. How many, like think of that stair step, think of it facing the hypotenuse of a triangle, of a right triangle. How many pixels per frame for it to go from where it is there to, like, say here, to travel in that trajectory? How many pixels in the horizontal and how many pixels in the vertical? Basically, we need to somehow pretend you're under a big ass microscope, and these are representing, you're looking at pixels, and the length of this line, that's like the horizontal and the vertical. Like a vector. I don't want to get too crazy with this. Or in other words, look at this. This is actually a good example. You guys look at the classroom floor, right? We got pixels. Look at these big ass squares. If I'm facing, let's do this. Let's say I'm right here. See the squares? If I wanted to move towards the door, and I can set one over, one to the right. I mean, how many squares up and to the right? What I have to do to get to that door? You really don't know, right? You might have to go 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. And I might get to the door, but how do you know? Is it 3? Is it up 3, right 1? Is it up 2.9, right 0.6? I don't know. Do you know? I mean, if you want to guess, well, there's math. That's what we got to figure out. You're facing an angle. We got an angle. There's our rotation. Well, if you move along that hypotenuse, to traverse the hypotenuse, you need to know how many pixels horizontally and how many pixels vertically, or even partial pixels, like the squares. 3 over, 1 up, 3 over, 1 up, or 2.6 over, 0.8 up, whatever. How do you find out those answers? It's easy. The horizontal is, you got your angle, say at 20 degrees. Let's say, yeah, 13 is radius. The cosine of that angle gives you your horizontal. The sine of the angle gives you your vertical. So if I'm facing 20 degrees, and I want to go right to the door, and I don't know how many pixels, how many squares up and over, I'll say the cosine of that angle will tell me how many over. The sine of that angle will tell me how many up. Perfect. That's all it is. But we need radians, though, not degrees. So let's go to our code. So that's like the math involved, real simple shit. So we have, first you got to hit the keyboard for up. So if key.keys, and we're going to speed this up.
Right here?
Yeah, key.keys. What I'll probably do
Is
next
it
is
keys?
the final finished version. And just open there. What is up arrow, guys? 38. 37, 38, 39, and 47. You need parentheses there. There you go. Awesome. So kind of visualize the right triangle here. Before I can traverse the hypotenuse, I need to convert your angle to radians. Let's call it bar A equals this dot rotate, that's in degrees, times 0.01745, 0.01745, or pi divided by 180. I usually do this. You could put times math.pi divided by 180. Well, why don't you just tell your computer ahead of time what it is instead of every frame? 180 divided by pi, 180 divided by pi. That's 60 times a second. That's a lot of extra math. Just tell it what it is. Yeah, 45. 0.0175. That's enough. All right, so we got our angle. So facing the door. All right, now I need to know how many pixels horizontally. That's the cosine of that angle. So what we'll do, but here's the thing now. Our ship has acceleration. It just doesn't go from 0 speed to max speed. It gradually goes. It has a little acceleration. Well, we don't have that coded, do we? We don't have it. So we need two more we need two properties of our spaces. Go to line 129. After 129, let's write that call. After that, say this dot speed x. That's horizontal acceleration equals 0. This dot speed y, next line, equals 0. You know, you're already here. You don't have that paper in front of you. So that's all for you. The different properties.
I do, yeah.
What's that? There's only a couple.
On speed,
Oh, we got speed x and speed y. What else for player?
oh, for player, set clock and state and update.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so two more. This dot shot clock. Don't worry about that yet. See in a second. And equals 0. Oh, there's one other state.
State.
This dot state equals normal. Rotation normal. Guys, what that is what happens when your ship gets blown up. Let's say you got hit by a rock. Are you able to still move? Are you able to shoot? Probably not. But your ship is still visible on the screen. So somehow you got to disable all the ship's functionality if you get shot. So we have this status variable saying normal. If it's normal, do normal. But as soon as that gets changed, you're like, yeah, then it's going to skip everything. Like, just not even running the scope. So if the status, if this dot state equals dead, then exit. Don't do it. We'll just make it bypass all those if statements and stuff. All right, we're not going over that yet. So we got our angle. Let's convert it to radians. Nice, we did. So what do we need to say? Speed x. So this dot speed x plus equals. This is the acceleration. Math dot cosine of your angle. That's the horizontal speed. Remember, cosine of your angle. That's how many pixels horizontally. So I got to go. Well, whatever. That depends on your rotation. So facing that 20 degrees, I need to move this amount of horizontal pixels. And cosine gives you the horizontal. I'm going to put some, for now, leave it like that. I'll put parentheses, A of the angle. So the angle is this, which is in radians. All right, next line. This dot speed y plus equals math dot sine. So again, if you always use the analogy of the floor, it works great because it looks like pixels. Just pretend you're facing a direction at that door, and I need to know how many squares up and down do I need to go to have that perfect trajectory towards the door. Cosine is horizontal, sine is vertical of the angle that you're facing. That's all it is. I thought I'd never use that shit in high school when I was taking this in trig back in the 80s. Like, really? Sine, why would I ever in my entire life use sine and cosine? I use all the time for games. All right. We got to move. So that just changes the acceleration, but we got to add that acceleration to our actual position. So we can do that right above line 148, outside the condition. Right there, just hit enter a few times. This dot x plus equals speed x. Or this dot speed x, excuse me. And this dot y plus equals speed y. Yeah, we didn't screw up. We should have our shit. Now it's gonna look funny, man. I mean, it's gonna haul ass unless we got some hype or something. You guys will see this is a good one. Go ahead and let's see if it. Let's be very gentle with the up arrow. Whoa! Now start spinning. Now go the other way. Like rotate the other way. Yeah, and then start hit the up arrow. Try to close out the console. We don't need that anymore. I hate that shifting, the jumping of the browser. Now, yeah. So try to slow it down. You gotta rotate. If you don't go fast enough, it's gonna look like 3 ships.
Yeah.
It's like it's moving so fast. It's like, oh my god, that was like.
Can't get us.
You can't even slow that crap down, can you?
No, you can't.
Just like when you really drive, it's the same way. Come on, you can fix it. Slow down. I hit the refresh button on your browser.
I'm getting seasick.
Now go really slow. Turn around, turn the ship around. Now thrust, just tap it. Oh, don't hold it down. All right, now see you can slow it down, reverse. But don't thrust, reverse, turn around first, then thrust. Oh, slow down, now thrust. Well, see that thrust thing? That was good. What?
Okay.
Sorry about that. Go back to your code. Oh, now you're learning, now go slow. We're actually going to make it, right now I can actually reverse speed pretty quick. We're going to put some percentages, and I'll do that later. We got an issue. Now this is harder than you think. It's only a couple lines of code. We got to cap our speed, man. That's brutal. But we can't just do this. And you guys might be thinking this, right? Well, if this dot speed x is greater than 5, set it to 5. So it can never be higher than 5. And then say, well, if speed y is greater than 5, well, what if it's going the opposite direction? What if it's going negative? Well, that's not going to work. It's not. You can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Let's say you got a full circle here, right? And say you're in the very middle. If you're facing due right, the sine of the cosine of that's going to be 1 point, a solid pixel. So let's say you're facing perfectly at 90 degrees, 0 degrees. You're not moving anything up and down. So that cosine at speed x is going to be 1. The ratio is 1 to 0. Full pixel to the right and nothing up and down. Well, that's great. Then you can say, well, if it's greater than 5, set it to 5. Because you're moving by a full pixel, 1.0. But as soon as you rotate, you can't just say greater than 5. That's not going to work anymore because you're not moving a full pixel anymore. Well, now you're like, damn. Because now it's going to look all funny. You can go faster if you're facing due right as if you're facing another angle. That's going to look weird. It's the same thing here. You know, if you're moving at the same speed on a perfect circle and you're at the very middle, it should take you the same length of time to get any point of that circumference. No matter what angle you're facing, this line is the same length. So if you start looking though, we're starting to form a little triangle here, right? You guys are looking at this? And we got another triangle here. So you're starting to get your little triangles, your right triangles, whatever. Here's the thing. If you guys can figure this, right, like understand this in one time around, you guys are massive. Here's your right triangle. Your hypotenuse is like the speed. So this is your speed x. You remember the horizontal. This is your speed y. Now, if I stretch the hypotenuse, like just pretend I stretch it, your speed x and speed y are going to change accordingly. That hypotenuse or magnitude, that's kind of, that represents your speed. So if you shrink the hypotenuse, well, let's say you want to cap the hypotenuse, it can't go more than 8. So if you cap this at 8, that means these guys can't go any higher, but they're going to conform or constrain to the base and height of the triangle perfectly. I don't want to get too crazy with this. So, do you guys know how to get the hypotenuse of a triangle? If you have base and height? Remember the Pythagorean thing? You gamers need to know this stuff, especially if you're hard coding from without any libraries or anything. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to say, of course, speed x and speed y, that's really, if you think about it, speed x is the base, speed y is the height of your triangle. Speed x is the horizontal, speed y is your vertical. So we say, well, if we know that, why don't we just say, well, form your right triangle and make sure the hypotenuse does not get any higher than 8. That's like your maximum speed no matter what direction you're facing. That's it. That's all we got to do. So on line, inside your thrusting if statement, at the line 146. Enter. Var. M for magnitude. That's it. You guys know vectors. It's like the length of the vector. Whatever. M equals math.square root. Here comes your Pythagorean theorem. We know speed x and speed y are the base and height. So speed x times speed this dot this dot speed x times this dot speed x. That's your a squared. Plus, I do that. Get your this dot speed x in there.
Speed y?
No, speed x. So that's like a squared plus b squared. So that's a squared plus this dot speed y times this dot speed y. So guys, all you did there was saying M equals, that's your hypotenuse. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? Notice that your A squared plus B squared, if you take the square root of that, you got your hypotenuse. M is the hypotenuse of that triangle. Next line of code. Did I mess something up?
You gotta let that run from the right, or you gotta separate parentheses.
That's fine. Order of operation will take care of that. I'll do this, the multiplication stuff first. So I'll do the speed x times speed x. It'll do that first, and then I'll do speed y times speed y. I'll do that, and then I'll add them again. But you could put parentheses if you want. So there's our right triangle. M is the hypotenuse. Speed x is the base. Speed y is the y. So we can say, well, if m is greater than 5, or in other words, if the hypotenuse of this triangle is greater than 5, stop growing. Shit, stay. Just say m greater than 5, and in curly brace, we got to constrain the speed at the base and height of the triangle. So speed x, this is speed x, equals this dot speed x divided. Oh, I did this mess up. I think it's divided by m times 5. That's just the formula. So that means the speed x, you set the hypotenuse to whatever it is, they'll set the speed x to, you don't want this. Oh, your hypotenuse stops there, and then your speed x is like, your triangle is built like that. Oops. You want this line to be depending on this hypotenuse. So it needs to stop there, not say there. And that's what's going on line 149. But we got to do the same thing for the height of the triangle, or speed y. This dot speed y equals the same thing. That's y's. If you get all that crap, you guys kick some ass. We thought there was so much code in afterwards. Just don't talk. I can knock it on an hour. Yeah, you know it. All right, run it, and then we're gonna have to do some serious copy and pasting to get you guys out of here. So now hold down that up arrow, and you're not getting any faster. No, they all, it's the same. Doesn't matter. Now, what I would do, go as fast as you can. That's it. Now, turn around, like don't thrust. Turn around the opposite, and now thrust. Yeah, I kind of did it fast.
I did a little bit, yeah.
So I'm going to slow down your engine capability. It's like your thrust is a little longer to increase your speed. That's really simple. See your lines 146 and 145. Take 40% of that. So just say times 0.4 on both of them. So now it's going to be a little more energy to speed up. It's going to be hard for us. You just put 0.4. So it's hard, guys, for you to see because unless you're actually following along and doing it yourself. But now you'll see that go ahead and run it, refresh your browser. It takes a little more energy to speed up. It takes longer to speed up to get to your maximum speed. You know, that's pretty slow. Are you maxed out?
Yeah.
But now this is easy. Change your maximum speed. Go back to your code. Maybe 5 is too slow. Make that 8. But I would have had a variable there instead of number 5. Like, this is not max speed, like in one of your property settings. Oh, you forgot one. You forgot the if statement. M greater than 8.
Yeah, look at that.
Now you max out at speed, but it doesn't matter what direction it's facing. That's kind of the thing. Now, if this was just up, down, left, right motion, you don't need any of this code soundtrack. Fair enough. Beautiful.
Thank you. I tried really hard. Put a lot of work into this.
All right, so let's close that up. Do me a favor and go to your HTML real quick and change that to, because I have to speed this up. See where it says practice 2? Change that to phase 2. We got a load of different JavaScript files. This I forgot where this one was at. I didn't have to look at the code. And move that phase 2 into the right folder. Don't worry, guys. I'm just trying to get to the fun stuff, but it's really late.
Okay.
Go ahead and run the browser, refresh the browser, and see how far this got. They're closed.
Looks like it broke. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see the console.
Oh crap.
It's
Okay.
even loading. Let me stage the, run it again. It's like it's not even running that file.
Did we change it? Let me just make sure it's saved.
Phase 2.
Phase 2.
Open up phase 2. Maybe there's nothing there.
That's
Oh,
phase
there's
2.
that. It should show something. Go ahead and refresh your browser. It should be the same as you guys have been doing. It's like there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's not loading.
I mean, it's not like at all. All right, forget that. See the change it to complete. Your HTML.
Let me try it again because it just popped up now that it was already moved.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let me try it again. Hold on.
Okay, just get
Yeah, now it is. There we go.
Something I don't know why.
No, okay.
I don't know where
It doesn't like it. Okay.
Go back and change that to
Completed.
complete. And go ahead and it does automatically. All right.
Oh, I just died.
It's starting to like, it's almost like how many browsers do we have open?
A lot. No, actually, we only have 2.
All right. Now we're gonna have to go, we're going really fast here. So close that up. Just some last minute things I want to show you, make that script a little bit here. Obviously I can't go over most of the stuff now, the bullets, but what I wanted to do,
How do you make it smaller?
same thing, pinch.
Okay.
So everything here is the same as you had before, but we added some stuff. So I'm gonna go over this really quick, then there's question and answers. Yeah, this is good. We gotta figure another way to do this lecture. So one thing we added here, guys, is go ahead and run it again real quick. Crystal. We have the rocks. There's really hardly any extra code for the rocks. Let me just kind of show you what we did. Go to your game. We added a function here called create rocks. I mean, this part's actually pretty easy. Oh, don't scroll. Just kind of lower the pages a little bit so I can point.
Okay.
That's good. Create rocks. Basically, you run the function online. We're running on line 33. So if you're following along, I mean, you guys are gonna have the code. So the first argument is 5. I want to create 5 rocks, and there's 0.7. That's the scale. I want to create them at X in the horizontal and a random vertical location. That's how the first 5 rocks get initially created. If you want 100 rocks, you change that to 100. It doesn't matter. And then we loop, and we're going to create a new rock based off the correct image. This is what I wanted to try. Change that 1 to a 0.
Right here?
No, on line 39.
1, 2, 0. Okay.
Now our asteroids have turned into spaceships.
I like that. That's better.
But that's how the game is set up. It's so open-ended, you can easily make changes like that. Change to the background.
Was it 3, 2?
I don't know how this is going to go. Oh, yeah.
That's
I don't have a
crazy.
problem with that. I think that's actually cooler. Now, if you can't shoot one of those things, see if you can hit one.
I see it.
See if you can shoot one. If you miss one, you suck.
I got to reload it fast enough so it
Watch
doesn't
where
hit
you
me.
like, oh.
I was like, yeah, it doesn't because I get hit before I can even throw a bullet out.
That's funny. All righty. Let's change them back to the rocks.
Where is
So that was 1. Change that 0 up.
1, yeah.
I did, okay. So basically, I don't have that much time. I can't go the whole bullet thing. That's going to be like another hour. I don't have time for that. So the last few things I want to show is that event. So notice when we created the rock, this is the last thing I'm going to show. You create a rock, you say, hey, there's a new rock, set the X here, set the Y here, set the scale to whatever you want it to be, from 0 to 1. Anything higher than 1 will be bigger. And then we have this crap. Add event listener is listen for this event. This is like the death event. If the rock hears that event, well, something's going to happen. It's actually going to run this function. So when this event occurs, run that function. Hold that thought. Go to your rock class. We're actually create the event. Where's it? No, you're going. Come on. There's the player, that's the bullet.
That's the
that's
bullet.
bar. Bullet's the last thing. Where's that damn rock?
Scott's gay.
Where's it at?
You're a little late.
Rock hit?
Yeah. Then we're gonna scroll down just a little side. Scroll down just a little bit. Oh, that's not it.
Right here?
Where's the freaking event?
Right here?
No, it was in the actual
Create rock?
rock. No, you go lower. Keep on going. There's the sprite, blah, blah, blah. Keep on going. It
Bullet.
must be after the bullet.
Yep,
it is.
there's rock.
All right, guys, hang in there for one last second. I want to show you one more thing. I just lost it. Lower. On line 290, that's what I want to get.
290.
So look what's going on here, guys, on the rock. Just one thing I want to show you here. When the rock gets hit, there's code in the bullet class. There's a bullet. When the bullet hits a rock, it runs that function called hit on line 287. What's going on here, the rock is no longer alive. It goes from alive equals false, from true to false. Now, why do we have that? Think about this for a second. Let's say you shot a rock, but you can't shoot a dead rock. You know, once a rock is hit, you don't be able to shoot it again. That'll look kind of weird. Just because it disappears, whatever, there might be still there, occupying the same space on the screen. You want to be able, this forces it that you can only hit a rock once. As soon as you hit it, it's no longer alive. 289, here's it for your JavaScript people. Here's how you can create your own event. You can make an event called Drink Beer, which I could totally do right now. So var event equals new event, rock hit. It's a custom event. You call whatever you want. So that is the name of the phone call, basically. Whereas this is make an event called rock hit. You're assigning the actual rock to the event, and then you're dispatching it. You're making the you're basically that's like Crystal's the rock. And every time Crystal gets shot, she's basically going, rocket! Really loud. And if you want to listen for that event, then you do anything. I can listen for it, you can listen for it, doesn't matter. But we have one thing specifically listening for it. So you scroll up, and that'll be in the game somewhere. The rocket on the part of the game.
I think it was right underneath it. Right there.
There it is on line 43. So basically, it's in, that code it's inside the game. So basically, the game is listening for every time a rock gets it hears the event, and hears, oh, rock hit, it hears Crystal yell, and it runs that function on line 47. That's the cool thing. There's no wires. It's very wireless here. So when a rock gets hit, it adds to the score, it updates the score, and then what is that condition? What do you think is happening there, guys? It's only going to create small rocks, so if what? 3, because you can't, because it can't keep on going. Sooner or later, the rock will be like 2 pixels big and never really hit. So as long as a rock is greater than 30% of its original scale, they'll create 2 more rocks. So it starts off with one big ash rock. Oh, that scale is 1.0. You shoot it, it goes, okay, add your 25 points, update the text, and create more rocks, only if the scale is greater than 3. So if it is greater than 3, it creates 2 more rocks at that location where it got shot, but it reduces the scale by 50%. So you get the first rock at 100%, the next 2 are at 50. Then the next 2 after that are 25. Well, then it won't do it. So you can basically, there's only big rock, middle rock, and small rock. There's 3 versions of rock. Yeah, sorry. I'm done. There's a lot more. Oh man, it's like 4:20. You guys are probably fried.
I'm fried.
I'll be more than happy to have individual questions on how the bullets work and stuff. But if you guys want to look at it, I need to. My voice is fried.
Any questions?
That was a lot. Sorry, this is the first time we did this. This is a training, learning experience for. I'll do it. I just thought you guys might be bored. You need this guy here. Oh, let's do some sound. Let's do sound. I don't have sound on this, so go ahead and run that. Was there sound when you shot and refresh your browser? I don't think there was.
I don't think there was.
I don't think that one has sound.
No.
I'll show you sound real quick. Who knows how to do sound in JavaScript? Man, you guys probably haven't even had it. Yeah, and without a library. Oh, you had done some sound? Nice, man. It's crazy how this works in JavaScript, especially without a library. But remember, this is vanilla JavaScript, not a single freaking library to use. Not even jQuery. So we need, scroll up, let's make this at the very top. We'll make it, let's put this the shooting sound. So right after line 18, that's a good spot. We don't even need that game state goes playing, I'm not using this. And this, we'll make it a proper, this dot shoot, no, this dot SND for sound, underscore shoot, equals, I might have a brain fart on this, new audio, capital A, space, new space audio. Parentheses, we need the actual URL. So it's in a folder called, oh shit, oh there you go, sounds. Open up that sounds folder. All right, so sounds, quotation sounds. That's the folder. // asteroid underscore shoot dot WAV. I could have changed the name of this.
Yeah, just a little bit.
What asteroid, John? Asteroids.
I'll spell it like I spelled it to you in the email. I spelled it ass.
Is that right? Steroids.
Steroids. Hold on. OID.
Someone needs a break.
I do, that's right. I'm like fried.
My voice is fried. All right. Asteroids, because I had bikes right now. Okay, that was easy. That doesn't actually play the sound. That just loads it up, kind of preloads it, gets it in a queue in a way. So when do you want the sound to play? When you shoot. So go to the code where it shoots. But here's the funny part. Where the hell? Go up. Right there, 38. Oh, line 183, excuse me. That's where you shoot. So right there, first thing in that conditional. Just do the very first line. You can't just do this, like this dot SND, what the hell you just call that thing? I forgot.
SND sound? Shoot.
Oh, you're right, my fault. That's that
Really?
would be weird. Every time you cross. Oops. No, it goes after line 194.
I kind of want to see that. Line 194.
Oh, you know, while we're here, the shot clock. I want to explain something. Well, let's get the sound in there first.
All right, this dot, what was it, A and D?
SND.
SND,
Why is it not showing up though?
shoot.
Is it called SND?
Yeah. Why is it?
Okay, I'm
It's
just going
grayed
to
out.
that. That's fine. We'll go back to that code.
Hold on, let's try this.
Oh, no. That's not going to work. Don't say this dot, say game dot, capital G.
SND.
We made it basically a static variable attached to the game.
Okay.
And that part's fine. So now go back to your player. Here's what you can't do, unfortunately. You can't just say, we'll play it. You almost can. So right there, line 194, don't say this is game, capital G. And that won't work. It'll kind of work. Stop play. Well, listen to how this works, or it doesn't work. It's a function, so parentheses there. Go ahead and run. It's going to ask work. Maybe. You might need to throw cranks in. But notice it's a little off. Hold down the space bar. Or the shift key.
Oh, I died. Hold on.
But look out!
I'm trying. Okay.
Hold it down. And notice it's not keeping up. In other words, the sounds aren't overlapping. It's only playing one sound at a time. You're shooting faster than the length. The length of the sound is longer than this frequency of the bullet.
Ah!
That's an issue. You can't make a game like that. I mean,
Okay.
that's horrible. The way sound works in JavaScript, go ahead and shut that off.
I don't want.
The way it works is you have every time. Ultimately, you would have a sound manager, like your own object that handles channels and all that stuff. But you don't. That's 2 hours right there. Maybe I'll have a lecture on it, just on sound. Well, that's okay. But what we need to do is almost every time you hit play, you need to create or clone an audio tag onto your like internally. You're not gonna actually see it in the HTML, but for every sound, there needs to be an audio tag. Because that's what New Audio does under the hood. It's like creating an audio tag in your HTML without actually creating the element and attaching it to the DOM. It's doing it automatically. Well, that's an issue because our sounds are overlapping. So what we need to do, I have a brain fart on this, we need to, every time you shoot, we need to clone the audio, that node, internally, like hidden, like under the hood, and then play it. Again, you're not gonna like look at your HTML and have 3,000 audio tags. But that's kind of what's happening. That's how JavaScript does sound. So, if you're only playing one sound at a time, great. You don't have to do any of this cloning crap. But we have sounds overlapping. We're gonna have explosions soon. They're gonna be overlapping your bullets, so you're dead. And you know how Crystal struggles playing Astro. So we have like 3 sound effects that are possibly going on at the same time, maybe more. So instead of .play there, we're gonna say sound shoot dot. I might have a dot clone node. Type clone node. And you have to put an argument there to say true. And now say dot play at the end.
Oh, here.
That's all you have to do. So every time you shoot, it's creating an audio, like an audio tag. But now you got 2 audio tags at the same time, means you can have 2. That's a function. Play, open, close parentheses. And now go ahead and run it. It should trigger the sound every time you shoot. Hold on. That's really annoying.
Yeah, it
Did
is.
you do that for like 10 minutes?
Oh, come on.
Let's just do that. Let's have like Crystal. All right, let's get the explosion in there real quick. And then we'll call it a day. So go back up to the code. We need another sound effect. So copy and paste the one you have there. And call it, not sound shoot, call it death. or explosion, you know, whatever you want to call it. But obviously load a different WAV file. Now again, waves have an issue with Explorer. I forget what version. It's a lot better. MP3s are now fully supported on Firefox in the audio tag. It's now in Firefox, Chrome, and Safari, and Explorer. That's great. So you don't need OGG files. Have you ever heard of OGG files? Not really anymore. Unless your client wants like Explorer 8. Well, then, again, like I said before, what client is going to play Asteroids that's using Explorer 8? He wouldn't be having Explorer 8 if he's going to play Asteroids. That'd be weird. All right. So anyway, did you get it? Did you put that set? Did you do that? I didn't watch.
I did.
All right. So let's go. When does the explosion occur? When there's collision. When the bullet hits a rock, which you haven't seen yet. But let's go ahead. That'll be in the hits. Rock hit. Line 49. Stow it in there somewhere, like right at the first line, line 50. Sure. Right above 50. Do that clone node stuff.
Oh, I don't want it.
Remember line 50? We can just type it.
Yeah, I probably would have needed. What is it? This?
Guys, remember what it is? I forget what you call the sound. This dot.
Death.
Not this game.
Game, right? Dot. Death.
Clone node.
I was waiting for them to tell me. It's not going to happen.
True. Dot play. And that's it. Sound is actually really easy. Now, you can do it old school and actually create audio tags in your HTML. Why would you want to do that? It's a bit dynamic. Ow! Man, let's see if you can get 200 points.
Okay. Can't. Stop. It's not fair. I don't like these buttons.
Close the browser and open back out. It's starting to issues. Dude, close all your browsers. Like close the browser.
Oh God.
Yeah, sorry, because you should have been here earlier. I was showing you guys using a framework. Like
Sorry, guys, we're gonna lose you.
It's so bad.